Championship champions. Celtic way, wait for the ball from side to side, and until they try to hide, the wait for the ball from front to back. Attack, 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 67, and they need to burst, the buzzing and the thousands.
Hello and welcome to episode 121 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. Join us tonight. We have United Ireland from a forum page. We have Michael, that's Mickey Dundee from a forum page. John hasn't been on for a while. Michael, new father to Michael Patrick Jr. So congratulations for myself there, Mike, and that. On tonight's show, match reaction to today's visit to Dinguel against Ross County. Quick injury report ahead of the Derby against the Rangers next Saturday. We're going to look ahead to that game as well at the end of the show, and of course anything you guys in the live chat which to say, please let us know. Before we get on the show, Mark will do a few shout-outs.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome aboard again, John. Nice to have you on again, mate. A few shout-outs to obviously Richie. Richie's still going with his chemotherapy and that, so a big shout-out to Richie and his family. We're all pulling for you for that. Terence, I know, Terence ended up back in the hospital last week, but he's home now and still got a wee bit of a long trek to go on him, but he got a wee bit of good news this week. He's something to aim for, so hopefully there'll be something for that in the future. And as you say, Paul, big shout-out to Mikey and his wife Donna. Congratulations on the birthday of their first wee baby boy, which Paul says Michael Patrick Jr. Don't think there'll be any mistake in which school he'll be going in years to come, but big up Mikey, that's great news, bud. Lads in the chat here, evening Bobby, nice to see you as always, same with Brian. That's it.
Well,
that's
Celtic,
it, bud. Aye.
Celtic maintained their 9-point lead in the SPL with a 2-0 victory against Ross County. Goals from Yotta, Penty and a rocket from Sobanovic. It was no game. It wasn't an impressive game as Celtic kind of slack in the first half and passes kind of going elsewhere, and without Celtic players. You called it yourself, Mark, in the live chat. It was scrappy. It was a wasteful game. But Celtic did what we do. We got the job done.
Oh, I definitely. We got it done, but it wasn't much. It wasn't even scrappy, Paul. Let's be honest, it was pretty damn awful to watch, really, wasn't it? As a spectacle, a game of football. But again, we're going to have to talk about VAR. That was never a penalty. You know
well,
I mean?
Do you know what, Mark?
Well, as we said, right?
Yeah.
The one with Burnaby, right, against Dundee United. The one with O'Reilly against, was it Motherwell? If they were penalties, aye, that the day was a penalty. But none of the three of them were penalties, in my opinion.
But as Mark said there, John, like if those two were penalties against us, we'd take that today.
Oh, 100%. It's been happening us all season, isn't it? We've kind of had a lot of soft penalties against us. Even the one with James Forrest at Hearts as well. We didn't even see penalties at that. We didn't get that. And had a lot of hang bad luck with VAR. I wouldn't call bad luck, but a lot of bias against us with VAR. So we got something to do in our favour, so we take it and we move on. But see, to be quite honest, on you go, mate.
So I was reading something there during the week that before VAR came in, Celtic conceded no penalties. And Mark, when VAR came in, Celtic conceded 7 penalties since VAR came in. And for me, they were stupid penalties. Like
there's been a lot. But the thing is, Paul, right? That's what VAR's been brought into. VAR's been brought in to do this, right? So maybe I mean, we know ourselves a lot of them were soft penalties gave against us, but it's like we could keep going back to where's the consistency across the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bawz came in and there's still a team in Scotland that's not conceded a penalty kick.
I just think it's the rule of football, Mark, at the moment. Like it, before the defender would kind of get the benefit of the doubt, but that's gone now. Do you know what I mean? Even a 50-50 challenge there, a defender would get the benefit of the doubt. Now it's kind of leaning towards the attacker. I don't know, do FIFA and UEFA want more goals in the game to make it more exciting for fans or something like that? Because this handball rule at the moment is just a disgrace. Like, if it hits your hand in the penalty, it's a penalty. Like, it's.
And that seems to be the kind of way that the ruling is. I mean, then they're going about on putting it into natural positions, your body in natural positions and all this kind of stuff. There just seems to be too many kind of grey areas about it all. A penalty decision should be black and white, really. I mean, I really, because you're getting, excuse me, you're getting a team a clear open shot at goal. Basically, could change the full. You know what I mean? It could be the difference between a win and a loss. So for me, the penalty decision should be completely just black and white. If it's a penalty, it is, and if it isn't any of this. Oh, but his arm was in this position, but his arm was in that position. It wouldn't have counted in that. It's got to be clear on black and white. When it comes to penalties, Paul, there can't be variations, because that's when it becomes up to people's personal interpretations, whether it's VAR, whether it's the referee or stuff like that. It's got to be a clear cut. That's the rule kind of thing.
John, do you think the game today was kind of a bit scrappy and wasteful because maybe Hayate and Moy were missing?
Just scrapping. It's Ross County away, Paul, and it's just kind of tough. It's a tough day that we go to. It's kind of the teams always sit with their back to the wall, dig deep. It's just up to us to break them down. It's scrappy, but we get the 3 points, didn't we? So it just kind of puts more pressure on them, obviously. And I'd rather the day we didn't get that penalty, because that 95th minute goal would have killed him, because they'd have not sitting watching that. I think we were going to drop points.
Some strike, wasn't it?
It was a good goal. He took it well, so hopefully he got a little bit of confidence with that as well.
That's what I was thinking. That's maybe what he's kind of needing, John, just to give him that. I'm not saying people are writing him off, but even we said that, Paul, we were talking about what kind of positions would we need to strengthen. We said possibly a left back if Burnaby. I mean, there is stories that he's no kind of settling well in Scotland and that, but I still maintain that he's a young lad. He's good. He's not going to play a lot of games for Celtic or the next year or that. Do you know what I mean? Especially with Taylor in there. But let Ange, we've spent a lot of money on him, so let Ange work with him. You know what I mean? And I mean, he is rough around the edges, but he does a lot of good as well on the park.
Well, I've been very impressed with Mark since he came in his forward play. It's more his defensive play. I think he seems to be kind of
stuck. He'll learn that, Paul, as well. Do you know what I mean?
Because Christ, like we were on Taylor's back for years, Mark, until Ange came in, and Taylor is one of our top players. You know what I mean?
Some people were on Taylor's back for years. Let's have it straight here.
No, what I'm saying, like, we always thought Taylor.
But even look at Ralston.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody, John, will deny the fact that the only reason Ralston got a contract is because he was actually only one of the few players that we had at the time when Ange came in.
We're needing players in midfield working on a bit of squad depth, but he took his chance, didn't he?
Definitely. Just like Burnaby, I'm more than happy for Ralston to be our backup right back, as long as he's happy to be that.
What about the debut today, Iwata? We kind of wanted to see him start the mark. I think he kept things simple. He's doing what he was there to do.
I didn't think. I've seen some people in the forum saying, the jury's out on Iwata and he's a poor. I thought Iwata done well. And I mean, Iwata started because Moy's out and because Hatate's out and that. But people have got to remember that Hatate's a different type of player for them. He is like an old-fashioned number 6 CDM, whatever you want to call it. He's there today is break up the opposition play and keep the ball in the game flowing. And I thought Iwata had done well today. So I don't know why some people are not writing him off, but a bit of questioning whether he's go. I mean, it's his first start, and we keep saying it as well, Paul. These players, they never get a chance with some Celtic fans. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's in the same boat too, Mark. Himself and Kobayashi are actually in the same boat as Maeda and Hayate last season. They played a full season in Japan, made their transfer to Celtic. So these lads really haven't had a rest. Do you know what I mean? All year. So
aye.
Like I think Ange is right. Like kind of, I think that game was actually right to give Errata game time today. The reason because we knew we were going to have a lot of the ball, and he's going to have space to get used to this Celtic team, Mark, because there was going to be no pressure on him from Ross County anyway. You know, so
I actually thought Ross County done no bad today, Paul. I mean, I've seen people say, they're camped out in their box and that. But if you watch it, but they were camped out in their box when we had the ball. But when they had the ball, they were trying to get forward.
Yeah, they were dangerous, all right, man. There's a few crosses there.
Was it Traore or something like that? You pronounced the name. He did a decent enough game against us today.
I thought that it really wasn't one of Starfield's best games today. I thought he looked a bit shaky today, Mark Starfield, for some reason.
Just Starfield, he's got a mistake in him in every game, as long as it doesn't actually cost his butt, isn't it?
John, you haven't been on for a while, like, and we're just speaking, like, how you seen this Celtic team at the moment, and
how'd I see them? One of the best Celtic teams I've ever seen. Just in terms of just everything that obviously Ange's bringing to the club, just every week. Obviously, I always look forward to watching Celtic play every week, but every week you're just buzzing for the next game, and just his football. It's just the way he is with the fans and all that as well. I think we're nowhere near what he wants us to be. See the finished article. I think we've still got a long way to go. Not a long way to go, but I think maybe next season. I think in terms of the finance, we're pulling a lot of money in. I think Celtic will give him a good bit of cash to spend, and I think next season we're going to do something. Obviously, we're going to start it in Europe. He's going to catch a lot of eyes next season in Europe. And, I'm just hoping we can keep Ange for a good while, and obviously won a lot more trophies in that way. But in terms of, it's probably Martin O'Neill's team and Ange's team is probably the best Celtic teams I've ever seen.
There has been talks, though, Mark, that Celtic are planning to sit down with Ange and get him on a long-term contract.
Aye.
You know,
I think they'd be off their heat naughty, Paul, wouldn't they?
I think Ange, though, Mark, is the type of manager, we'll sit down at the end of the season, we'll do that. Like, you know what I mean? He's not worried about the contract dealings, you know what I mean? He's here.
See, even at that as well, Paul, but it's Ange's agent that'll be dealing with that. You know what I mean? Ange will only be, he's got 2 trophies still to win. Do you know what I mean? He'll not be worrying about his contract or that. But I'd imagine that the talks will have started and with his agent, and hopefully they're near enough coming to some kind of deal to even announce at the end of the season or that, because that would be like the cherry on top of the cherry on top of the cake, wouldn't it? They won another treble, and then the next thing Ange had signed a 5-year contract or something like that.
It would. Brian is saying, Mark, think we made them look better than they were today. It was kind of very like you today, Mark. When I saw the Kyogo miss today, right? And if people don't see what you're trying to say about Kyogo, you never said he was a bad player. You said he misses chances.
Too many chances.
That was the prime example of a bad any striker, Mark, that's in 1-on-1 with the keeper, and that was a bad
even at the time, Paul, with the time to take a touch and place it.
But is that the type of striker, Mark, that maybe, do you see strikers, and if they've time to think, they're not good at this. Do you get me?
Aye.
Like they overtake it or something like that. Or if something happens, then in an instant they bury it.
Aye, it's like a natural kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I've said it, John. I don't know if you've heard me saying it before and that, right? Imagine a fit and focus Lee Griffiths in this Ange team, the amount of goals he would score.
Aye, it'd be frightening, mate. That's one thing about Lee Griffiths. You knew where the net was. You knew how to find the net.
Gary Hooper, there's another one that just seemed to have this kind of knack. Even what we saw with Giacomakis, I mean, what was it, the first 13 goals he scored for us, it was his first touch in games or something like that. That's like that kind of natural predator instinct that strikers have got. And for me, Kyogo's just no got that. He's not an out-and-out striker. Aye, he'll score. I mean, again, back to this Celtic team, any half-decent striker would score goals in this Celtic team. But the chances Kyogo's missed in that, and as I say, I've said this, John, I'm not talking about, he could have done better there. I'm talking about absolute sitters.
That
absolute
was
sitters
today. No, that was a bad miss today. Like, my God.
He should be pushing, kind of trying to break Larsson's scoring records. He really should be.
If he had that 25 or something, is it 25 he's sitting on?
25 goals, I think.
Aye.
And like 25 goals. He should be burying that, like, do you know what I mean?
He's been well over 30 now, but
that's my point.
Far too much he's been missing, man.
What about that? There's something we didn't see from Kyogo or Giacomakis, Mark, is the physicality by and that touch today and just taunting the defender and gone. That was just class,
beautiful.
Man,
it was beautiful, that touch. I like what I've seen for you so far. I really like him.
You know, he's really, John, he's really starting to come a player that Celtic are hoping he'd come into.
100%. It's his goal where a few weeks ago, the way he took it with the header, see just the strength and the determination.
Aye.
To get in there. I took it well, just kind of bullied the defender. And just you could see the determination in his face and just the power he put into that header and just like, make sure that I'm taking this goal. But
and that's what we've been missing up front.
I think he's going to come on well. I think he's going to do a lot for us next season.
Do you think who do you think will play up front in the Champions League?
But next season?
No, but this season, will it?
It might get a cheeky bid or two for Kyogo because if it hits that 30 mark, I don't know, it just depends how ins and outs go into it, if who stays and who goes, and if we want to spend money on a better striker on that next season. But I don't know, it's hard to tell, isn't it? It's hard to tell, but I don't know, and Kyogo's Ange's golden boy, isn't it? He's always going to
it seems to be that. It does seem to be like that, but I honestly don't think Kyogo would leave Celtic, John, unless while Ange is here.
Aye, but Drinky would go, no. It might come down to it's the offer we get into the money. It's maybe why
I'd say there's, I'm not saying it's for certain, but I think there's a bigger chance that Hatate's going to be the one that leaves.
Aye.
Because there's been a lot of big teams sniffing about him, but I don't imagine Kyogo's on a kind of great wage that's busting the bank or that. So I think again it would come down, if a bid came in that Celtic were willing to accept because it was like a crazy money kind of bid, I think it would still be down to like the player himself if he wanted to go or no. And that's what we sell to them. We leave it up to them kind of thing when they want to move on. But I just don't see Kyogo leaving while Ange is here.
It's that Japan manager as well coming out and saying that, the standard of the league, so he could maybe wanting the Japan team and stuff in it as well.
But even if he got in that Japan, I mean, it was going back to the World Cup. They didn't take Kyogo to the World Cup because that's not how the guy plays football. Kyogo wouldn't get in his team anyway.
See, I don't understand. He's saying it's the standard of the league, but he still picks Maeda. He's playing in this league, so
he's just what did I say to you, Mark? That he's kind of contradicted himself, saying he's not picking Kyogo because of the standard league, but then he's doing so. He's not really answering the real question. If he came out and said, right, Kyogo doesn't suit my style of play, and that's why I'm not taking him, it's the same with Hayate. I don't think Hayate suits his style of play either, Mark. Do you mean? Because Hayate likes to keep the ball on the floor, Mark, and look for that pass. When he kind of likes to play the long ball over the top and see Maeda get onto it. Do you know what I mean? You know, like, there was no way today Maeda was fit, I mean, Mark.
I didn't look at it, didn't you know?
You know, really didn't, like, and
evening you, Deef, thanks for joining us again, mate. Nice to see you.
You know, really didn't, like, you know, just hope like something that Mark kind of doesn't backfire. Do you know what I mean on us? But there's kind of no things. But Taylor going off today, I think Andrew kind of said it was kind of a dead leg, wasn't this? It was kind of.
I was surprised he actually went off, but I'm glad. I'm glad that he did. You're better being safe than sorry. We all know how bad it turned out the last time when Taylor had to go off against him. Do you know what I mean, sir? But at Celtic Park, even if Taylor doesn't make it, he'll be flying for next week if it's him that's going to get the nod. Do you know what I mean? After getting a goal today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the lads were back in training this week, weren't they? More, it was kind of a more of giving them that kind of extra break, Mark.
I think so.
I
think so.
And Abada, what was the story with Abada?
Well, Abada seems to be turning into a bit. He's kind of spat the dummy out a bit.
I think that's why you've answered my next answer.
I was just talking about that with Mikey earlier on.
Squad today because of this thing that's kind of coming out with his former club saying he's leaving at the end of the season and stuff like that. And there has been rumours as well, Mark, that maybe he's after falling into the contract that Juranovic and Jake Marcus were on, that it was McCoy did up his contract as well.
Was it McKay that done his? Aye.
He was there before Ange.
I think he's where the first was brought in.
Aye, in fact, it was that's right, Paul, because when we spoke about it, we thought about Dudu Dahan, but he changed his agent as well.
Yeah, but you know who his agent is? Juranovic. Agent.
That's right, aye, I read that.
You know, so like you're talking about players going. Abada won't be here next season, Mark, because I don't see Ange putting up with this snottiness going to the press and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? You know?
No. Well, we saw that with Giacomakis, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're out there kind of talking about you're no happy and stuff like that, well, you'll not be part of the team or the squad.
Mm-hmm.
And that fair play.
Don't get me wrong, like about
maybe see a bit maybe see a bit maybe Haksabanovic.
Could he play on that side of the pitch?
Could play on either side, couldn't he? Really?
He can play through the middle as well, couldn't he?
Aye.
He can play on your free.
I mean, Haksabanovic is eventually going to say, "What's getting on here? How come I'm not getting a kind of start here?" And
do you know what?
Yota the day was terrible.
Do you know what, Mark? Do you know what? He's actually kind of playing. He reminds me of a Tom Roderick. Do you know what I mean? You know, he's actually getting the same amount of game time as he does with Montenegro in the national team. He never plays the full game. So I'm actually thinking, Mark, is he actually fit enough to play a full game? You know?
Well, surely Celtic, when you've seen a guy...
He's actually played more minutes this season with Celtic, Mark, than he has with previous clubs. There was a fella from his team putting it out there, some journalist in Montenegro, he's from, isn't it?
Aye.
Yeah, and he was saying that this is one of the most seasons Haksabanovic has played. You know, so I don't know, is he actually fit enough, Mark, to play a full game or what? You know what I mean? But I want to see him through the centre more so than out in the wings. That's what I want to see. I think he could be lethal there, Mark, running down the players through the centre, Haksabanovic.
Aye.
He's good at that, driving forward, isn't he? He can hit a shot in that as well, so it's a good shout, Paul.
Like he wasted a shot there today as well, didn't he? Blew it over the bar, didn't he? You know? And
you'd have thought, out of them all, you'd have thought he'd have been one that would have probably got on target after the goals he scored the last few games, you know what I mean? But, I mean, I've said that to you before, Paul. I'd like to see him getting a run through the middle. You're saying you're comparing him to Rogic with his fitness, but I'm kind of comparing him to Rogic as a bit of a player as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mark. I think that role be kind of more suited to him. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's the fastest, really, is he? You know?
I don't think he's the slowest either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't really know, like, you know what I mean? You know? But I'd like to see him play through the middle. I think, Mark, he can pick out and he's that creative too, Mark, that he can get around players like Roger did. Do you know?
Aye.
You know?
Just seems to be There must be something that he's not actually getting any kind of starts. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, as I said, Jota was
He seems to be
absolutely
happy,
atrocious
Mark. Do you know
today.
what I mean? He's like, you know
But
what I mean?
how happy is he going to be, Paul, next season if it's
That's
still
it,
the
yeah,
same?
but
Do you know
that's
what I
it.
mean?
It's like, is this the season, Mark? Maybe he's trying to just getting up to
Getting up to
Angie's
speed
style of
and
play, Angie's
getting up to
fitness and
Angie's
stuff
level of
like that.
fitness
Like,
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly.
Maybe,
Like,
maybe.
you know, and next season then he's going to be pushing more and more, hopefully, you know. But did we miss Hayase and Moyes? Like, I don't know, what would you call it, Mark? Experience or technibility to pick out a pass to open up this Ross County defence today?
I don't think so, Paul. The squad, no matter who we pick, Celtic, no matter who we pick, Paul, Celtic team should be strong enough to go up there and win and dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And although we did dominate the game for the majority of the time, but we just dominated it with possession. We weren't. It's just that you were saying earlier, John, like about how you just once one game's over, you're excited for the next one coming up. But do you honestly think that we're playing that good? Like, I mean, we're winning games, but it's no the kind of free flowing, easy kind of football that Ange was playing earlier on when he came in, and he kind of said that they would be playing, and we kind of get used to it. So, I mean, it's fair dues. It's like, how can we be on the verge of a treble and not be playing well? But it's not pleasing in the eye, you know. It's not been for a while.
But is it? Go on, John. Yeah, go on.
I think it's just kind of obviously just digging in and getting the points in it. It's getting to that part of the season, into the business part. I think maybe the players are kind of obviously feeling the treble coming up now, and it's kind of nerves could be setting a wee bit with some of them because some of them's never experienced it before, and it's just kind of just digging in, getting one game at a way, and just keep going to the end of the season. But I don't know, but it's as long as we get the win in it, it's on to the next game. I'm just taking it one game at a time. That's what I'm looking at it.
Aye, but it's like, obviously every football team wants to win games, but once you're winning games, you start to look at the way they're playing, isn't it?
Could be burnout as well, a wee bit of burnout in it. It's just that been high intensity every game all season. It could be obviously getting
And
the
a
end of the
lot
season.
of the players have played a lot of minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's at that intensity, as you say. But I just say, John, I totally agree. It is all about getting the 3 points and getting the win if it's a cup, whatever. But the team just seems to have been a wee bit back the way, in my opinion. Maybe a wee bit kind of Brendan Rodgers-y, with it just passing a bit for no apparent reason, when instead of trying to pass like a cutting pass, you know what I mean, trying to create something that's always just wee side passes and stuff like that.
Do you think, see with McGregor playing further forward today and no kind of sitting back controlling it, do you think that kind of played a wee bit of part in it today? If you know what I mean? Because he was a bit further forward, being a bit more offensive instead of just sitting back and kind of controlling things. And
I mean, it might even take him a bit of time to get back into. I mean, because he's played back in that kind of CDM role for a good few years, when we get back to the 4-2-3-1 formation and stuff like that. But I mean, McGregor's a good enough player; he should be able to play anywhere on that park.
Aye.
Well, I mean, just maybe a wee bit ring rusty, being a bit further up than that, but I'm quite confident McGregor will come good, no matter where Ange wants him to play. Do you know what I mean?
He's just that type of player, isn't he? He could just fit into any team anywhere, I think.
McGregor could play. McGregor, people might laugh at this and that, but honestly, Cal McGregor could play for any of the top teams in Europe.
I totally agree. He's got that about him. He's got that confidence, and he's just got that calmness about him. He just slides in to be quietly effective.
Aye, and that kind of like intelligence. Do you know what I mean? That kind of like fit, but like, who could I compare? Well, I even say it, compare me to like Paul McStay or somebody like that. Just that kind of fit by brain that he could just, no matter where he plays, he can kind of hold his own at that level.
He's just as long as he does.
Just as long as it's not as a CDM at Champions League level.
Would you be comfortable starting Iwata there next week, Mark, and have McGregor more forward, or would you think McGregor there just for his experience at the moment?
No, I think it'll be McGregor.
Going into next week, yeah.
It'll be McGregor, Hatate, and probably Moy, Paul, I think, will be the starting midfield next week. I mean, we're saying it's kind of, if it'll be McGregor and Hattati, and I keep it's the other one. It's Moy or Turnbull. It's the other role that's up for grabs now, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
Well, in fairness, I thought O'Reilly actually played well today. Actually, he was getting stuck in. O'Reilly.
He's coming back onto a game, O'Reilly. We sort of a wee bit of a lull earlier on, but he seems to have been picking it back up. Still not back to his best that we've seen him playing, but he's getting there. I thought he'd a decent enough game today as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Joseph, nice to see you, bud.
Hey boys, I thought a lot of our players were poor today, struggled. This is why Taylor got injured because of poor passing. I'm kind of agreeing with that, Mark, and agreeing with what Joe's saying. Like our passing today was all wrong. Like, you know what I mean? We were constantly kind of giving the ball away, or do you know what I mean? Or it just didn't look like a Celtic team, Mark, that we've kind of came accustomed to know. Do you know what I mean? And
Heard Bobby saying I thought O'Reilly was rotten today personally, but see, who would you give pass marks to really? Johnson.
about the only one, or Wattermark, really.
Aye, probably Awata. Johnson and Awata. I mean, even Carter Vickers didn't look. He was a wee bit ropey at times. Starfelt with a couple of wee blunders. The midfield.
But do you think, though, Mark, is this because, like, anytime Celtic kind of on a decent run and we seem to be kind of getting our rhythm back in the team, there's an international break. Do you know what I mean? And then it's just, we're a bit sluggish then after we come back from the international break. Do you think that was maybe today, like that, the team kind of haven't played with each other for a full week, and maybe that affected the rhythm today?
Nah, I'm not buying that, Paul. See all this rubbish about international breaks and stuff like that. I don't see what the difference is. I don't think that should upset unless you're coming back injured or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But Cal McGregor did he not play every minute for Scotland in the 2 games?
Mm-hmm.
And then played for every minute for Celtic again today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was just I'm not putting it down to Angie's team selection or that today, but I'm actually just putting it down to the actual players and they're just not performing to the best that we know they can.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I'm just trying to think, why do we kind of see this happening, Mark? Do you know what I mean? You know, when you know it's not the manager. Do you know it's not the manager wants to play that way? You know?
Johnson struggled today. The quicker Ralston comes back, the better. You're at the wind up here. You're at the wind up here, Joseph, man.
That Johnson's been at ease for coming in. He's just kind of taking it in his stride, man. He's started playing with us.
Aye, it's as if he's been there for years, John, isn't it?
I think everybody was just quiet today. I don't think you can really kind of pick anybody out, but it's just one of the games. I think it was just kind of, we've seen it out and that was it, man. It's just take the 3 points and wait next week against these cunts.
I mean, Johnson, for me, I've said it to Paul, but I don't know what you think, John. For me, Johnson's already shown to be a better player than Juranovic was for us.
I'm happy, but we had a bit of money in Juranovic, got an unhappy player that didn't really want to be there out the door. And we've got somebody that's just sorted in, and he seems to be like that better going forward. He's good at these defensive duties now as well. Just it doesn't seem to have its weaknesses anyway. It's just kind of the same, or it's even a wee bit better, as you say, and a wee bit of money in the bank as well.
I think as well. I mean, he'll be maybe no right now. He's only been here a few months, but if he keeps playing the way he is, and we get into the Champions League and he kind of keeps playing like that, but I can see us getting serious bids for him.
To Johnston?
Aye.
I can see he's losing a few players in the summer.
Maybe not in the summer. You know what I mean? But maybe next summer or that, especially if he's a good Champions League.
But
it just seems to be. On you go, John.
No, I think that's what we're going to do next season. I think we're going to start out next season, the Champions League. Also, I'll bet to win the league. I think that's if we get the treble this season. Obviously, that's He's done a league, he's done a treble, and I don't think he'll be content at Celtic until he's done something good in Europe. Until he's stood out in Europe, and he'll probably look at himself and I've accomplished stuff here. But I know what you're saying. I think if he keeps going the way he's gone, we could be seeing bids for him. I think we're going to lose a few players this season in terms of bids. So quite a lot of players are all stoning out.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, Mark. Really, what John is saying there, who we could actually potentially lose next season. You know,
Aye.
they're saying Ange brought in kind of good players, like he's kind of done things like, but when you're losing kind of big name players, Mark, there's always a fear there. Do you know what I mean? Because not every chance was going to walk out the way we hope. Like, do you know what I mean?
No. There's
You
all. I
know?
mean, the thing is as well, but Paul, it's not as if we need to sell.
No, we don't. No.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, we know we've got money in the bank, whatever, and even down to the fact is, I think Ange's maybe even the type as well, Paul, that he'll maybe look at the squad rather than buy in players. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, there if a winger leaves, fine. But do we need to? If a Bada leaves, do we really need to bring in another winger? We've still got Haksabanovic, and let's face it, even if push comes to shove, we've still got James Forrest there.
Yeah. I think Maeda could be this. I think Maeda could be going this summer. I was talking to somebody on Friday. He wants to know somebody that knows John Kennedy, and we also talk about Celtic, and he's like talk about transfers and stuff. And he said he was like talking to Kennedy about inquiries for players, and he's like, we get inquiries all the time. That's what Kennedy was saying to this guy. But be surprised the most inquiries we got was for Maeda in January because of the World Cup and stuff. So kind of sounds like a lot of clubs are going to be wanting him this summer. So I think he'll be one of the ones that's gone. I think Hatate will be gone, Maeda, Abada. I think if Kyogo gets there 30 goals, I think we could maybe see a wee cheeky bid or two for him. And you don't know about Carter Vickers as well. He's been outstanding, isn't he, for the last 2 seasons, just to put a feet Ryan. Big solid, and he's starting to play internationally a lot as well.
His Carter Vickers' height goes against him, John. That's one of the things all the scouting reports is kind of sees height and hang in the air and stuff like that. That's one of the things that stopped other bigger, richer clubs coming in for him when he was available for Spurs. I know a lot he had popped up on like a lot of scouting radars and that, but his height and hang with his like his aerial power and that was one of the things that kind of turned a lot of the scouts and that off him. So in fact, I'd be quite happy for that just to stay the same, Paul, John. Do you know what I mean? If that keeps putting the scouts off and nobody wants to buy Carter Vickers, I'll be quite happy with that.
Well, hopefully, man. I think if we need somebody like him, partner him next season, I think we'll be solid at the back. Just kind of a big physical player like him and doesn't put a feet around because with Starfelt, there's just too many mistakes. He's no Champions League level, is he? He's all right for the league, that, but even at that, he's making a lot of mistakes in the league. But if we can get a big, powerful defender in next to Vickers, somebody like a big Mialbi or something, I think we'll be proper next season in Champions League.
No, I agree. You know,
I thought you fall asleep there, Paul.
No, I was looking at you were talking there, right? So I just let you talk away. Like, you know, I wouldn't like to lose Vickers, Mark. I think he's key to this, the strength at the back there. I think Vickers, you know.
We're talking about John's talking about Starfelt there, but there's stories and rumours I know that there are big teams down in England.
Oh, there was, yeah. Sure, I heard there was a few sniff around in January, but nothing kind of came around it. But I don't. The team that I know who was kind of interested in Maeda was Southampton, and they were looking at Hayase, but Southampton are going to go down, Mark, so they're not going to get them. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think that's crazy. That would be crazy for Hatate to move down to Southampton. Or I seen who's that? Brighton. Is it Brighton as well? I seen something on Twitter that they've agreed a fee with Celtic or something like that. Some daft in the no account on. There's no way Hatate that's leaving for a team like Brighton. They're really
off a bit into it. They can slap down 20-25 million in it, all the wee teams down there. It's just once they leave that in front of Celtic in it, it's one of the ones. It's
I kind of question the ambition of players that make that kind of move. I mean, fair dues, it worked out for Van Dijk going down there and moving on to Liverpool. Worked out for Wanyama, but they're kind of younger than that. Do you know what I mean? And well, Hatate's still quite young, but I mean, Maeda's 27 or 28 now.
Is that how old he is, aye?
I'm sure he is. He's not that young, Maeda, I'm sure, John.
I don't know, Mark. I never looked at him. He's not young anyway, I know that for a fact. You know, because he was in York, Mark, when he was younger before.
No, he's only 25. I thought he was older than that. But even
25.
get down there, you go to Southampton. I mean, what if you went down to like Southampton? Supposing they stayed up this summer, and they went down there and they're relegated next summer. It doesn't bode well for the kind of big signings. You know what I mean? It's not as if there's Southampton get relegated. Chelsea's going to nip in and pick Hatate off them on the cheap. Do you know what I mean? It's a kind. You're getting a kind of, for me, you're getting a kind of downward trajectory. Do you know what I mean? That kind of way.
I suppose I know what you mean, but it's that league, isn't it, man? Doing it, England, they rob everybody, man. Teams build good teams and they can't just dismantle them with their checkbooks.
I mean, it's
even all the Spanish teams are all moaning about it.
That's what I've just going to say there, John. It's starting to, it's like a spider's web spreading across Europe now. It's starting to affect other leagues and everything. The amount of money that they've got down in England. You know what I mean? When like they were talking about wee teams like Brighton and stuff like that, when they can outbid your Borussia Dortmunds and your AC Milan for players. You know what I mean? Brighton have got more money than your AC Milans and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Historical teams, not talk about. It's been there and done it in Europe or our days, a big history, and as you say, get we shitey teams at Brighton can outspend them. It's crazy, man.
Just down to nothing at all they've done apart from get promoted into the league that's got all this crazy money put about it.
I saw Israel, this guy's just picked England to be the best league in it. There you go.
Aye.
That's all it's done. It's not through their own self building that league up, all the good players and building all the best players through it. Just basically a blank check, go and sign all the best players in the world and become the best league in it, and just dismantling all other leagues, really.
Well, look at us do to their international team then, like, you know what I mean? You know, there's no young English player, Mark, ever going to get into these big teams down there because of this, isn't there? You know?
Oh, I don't know, Paul, but you've got, probably no breaking through in these teams, but you've got that Jude Bellingham and guys like that.
But that's what I'm saying. They have to leave. Yeah, they have to leave, Mark. I guess. You know, they have to leave. Like, and then they're coming back. Then they're for crazy money, like 100 million. Then they're looking to buy Bellingham for Mark. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy for. He's only about 19, 20. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous money that they're paying. And for me, it's killing the game. You know, really is like.
Definitely.
Because you see, I mean. See, like big clubs. I mean, see, like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. I mean, a lot of people, even over the years I've met, a lot of people don't actually realise how big a club like Bayern Munich and Juventus actually are in their countries. I mean, Bayern Munich's one of the biggest clubs in the world, without a doubt. For years upon years, their history, the money they've got, and everything. And see, when they're moaning about stuff and that, you've got to kind of listen to them. Do you know what I mean? Ajax, it's like Ajax. See if Ajax, the people that run the Ajax are moaning about stuff that's going on behind the scenes, you've got to listen to these guys, because it's clubs that they've kind of defined the game over the last 40, 50 years. So they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And money isn't always the answer. Do you know what I mean? Money's not always the answer when it comes to football. You know what I mean? We've seen that up in Scotland. We've seen it down in England. We've seen it over Europe. Money isn't always the answer. You can throw money, but you've got to have the right people running things and making the decisions, and that's where things fall down.
Well, but for me, Mark, one of the best things that happened to football was COVID, because it showed the clubs that were overspending couldn't control their finance during COVID. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Look at Barcelona. Real Madrid, Juventus haven't even recovered from it at the moment. Do you know what I mean? You know, so no wonder they want this Super League, Mark, to get in these finances. You know,
and that's what it is, Paul. It's kind of it's jealousy of the money that England's got. I mean, as I've said there, Paul, teams like these big teams on the continent getting outbid for players and outbid with wages. I mean, as we said, Paul, teams like Brighton, I mean, what's Brighton's capacity? It's about 13 or 14,000 or something like that.
Bournemouth, they only had 11,000 or something, man.
It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? But because of the money they're getting off of TV, they're entitled to, but they're spending this money that teams on the continent they can't compete with.
And Mark, that's why they're afraid to let Celtic down there, because we have a 60,000 seater stand. We're already a big club known worldwide. And if we had the finances that English clubs down there, Celtic will be a big club down in that league in a matter of two years. because the money.
Celtic would be one of the biggest clubs in the
That's what I'm
world,
saying.
Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm
If they had
saying.
that kind of money.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. I don't want us to go and join the English league. If I super, is it 31,000, Bobby? Who was it you said there, John? The capacity.
Bournemouth was 11,000.
Is it Bournemouth? Maybe it'd been name I was thinking of then. Maybe it'd been Bournemouth. Who was I talking about there?
It's Celtic going down to the.
I mean, see the European Super League, some kind of version of that's going to come in. That's just progress. But I just don't want Celtic to be away doing like selling our arses in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? That's all you're basically doing. We're a Scottish team and we should be playing in the Scottish League as long as there's a Scottish League to be played in.
Well, Mark,
If and when this European League comes in, Paul, that's like a progression. So we're going to be part of it. I'd like us to be part of that, but no, I wouldn't like us to go like down to England full time. Definitely wouldn't.
No,
like, again, unless it was going to be some kind of British league, or UK league, or something like that. But not just they're all going about us and Rangers away down to England. That for a start, Rangers they wouldn't accept them for a simple reason.
The behaviour.
No, nothing to do with even their fans or the behaviour and like that, Paul. Their finances. I mean, we could go to that English Premier League and say to them, look, we've got this, we've got £50 million in the bank, we've got this 60,000 season tickets, right, we're in the Champions League next year, we've got that. Rangers have got nothing. What's the thing that you can't just get down to England and be a ragtag and bobtail mob. Do you know what I mean? That's like, you might as well take Aki's down with you. Do you know what I mean? Because they've not got if Rangers get the money to supplement that first year in the English Premier League, they can't even get through a season in the Scottish League without all these shared deals and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I've said that as well about this European Super League. They said, Rangers would be in it as well. But they've got to look at how they're running now. Would they make the qualification? Or would they only be getting in it because Celtic's involved in it?
Exactly, Mark. Yeah, that'd be it.
Do you get what I mean by that? It's like they've not got the infrastructure. They're on this UEFA watch list thing for their finances. I don't know. They're meant to put accounts in.
Yeah, they never put them in.
Aye, they've not put accounts in yet for this year, and I don't know if that's. I think they've maybe even missed the deadline for UEFA now, which means that they've not got a licence for UEFA next season.
They've asked for an extension, Mark, till Friday.
See, that's them jiggling the books about to meet this.
And no, but UEFA have summoned this, that they want this at the start of basically tomorrow. They want this. Finished UEFA said to them, they want this, sent to them.
See, this is what should have been happening years ago.
You know?
This had been happening years ago. UEFA taking this kind of interest in the finances. See all that EBT stuff and that would have never have happened. That would have never have happened on UEFA's watch. That was just SFA, just signing off whatever Rangers passed through to them. No actually even looking into things and stuff like that.
Well, I blame the SBL for that, Mark, because they hit it.
Aye.
Because the SBL were under the impression, Mark, that the Scottish League be nothing without Celtic and Rangers. Do you know? And that's the only reason the SBL kind of threw a blind eye over it. You know? But who's to say Denmark? What we were speaking a couple of weeks back, the likes of Aberdeen, Hibs, maybe Dundee United could have come in that second team because they were getting it up, they were getting the finances.
Aye.
That's what we need, isn't it? We need one of them to finish second one season and get to that Champions League. We need to start getting the teams stronger and getting finances behind them, and the league comes a bit more competitive. I'd love to see
But first off in that, John, you've got to have like a Hearts manager that's going to come out and set his team up against Rangers the way he does against Celtic.
I know what you're saying. You've got
to have these managers that have, instead of this kind of fucking merry-go-roundy guys. I mean, that idiot that's in charge of Livingston, for a start, he shouldn't be allowed to be a manager or coach or whatever it is after he's passed, you know what I mean? But you've got these guys, I mean...
Like he came out there a couple of... Sorry, there for cutting across it there. He came out there, I remember it was last season. Yeah, what's his name again? Meisland or something is this?
Martindale.
He came out there. I remember I texted you about that when Livingston lost against Rangers, and he said at least Rangers got 3 points to try to close the gap in Celtic. And I'm looking good. If I heard my manager saying that about my club, do you know what I mean?
It's like you've got that banger Andy Halliday sitting on Radio Clyde, Paul, tipping Rangers to win the league and going on about Rangers, but he plays for Hearts.
Plays for Hearts.
Do you get that? But you know what I mean, John? You're sitting there, Rangers, I think Rangers could win that. And you're playing against them this week and stuff like that.
I mean, he's a true boy, isn't he? He's Disney old, isn't he? No, he's Rangers at heart.
There's plenty of people about Scottish football you can look at that. I mean, as I said, Hearts with Robbie Nielsen. I mean, he's just, I don't know, he's just got, I don't know actually know if he's a Rangers supporter or if he's a Hearts supporter.
He's a problem against Celtic, Mark.
He's got a serious chip in his shoulder whenever it comes to Celtic.
And appease his fans into it, because he knows if Hearts fans all hate Celtic, and it's probably just banned on his support.
Come out and fucking kid on it. Even if you need to kind of kid on that you hate Rangers, because I'll tell you, Hearts would rather finish second in the league than brilliant. We didn't get beat by Celtic. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that kind of I don't know. It's like an underlying thing in Scottish football. I've said this year, right? This is one of my crazy ideas I had years ago, right? It wouldn't have worked out after what's happened in the world over the last 10 years, but I mean, Donald Trump had all that bother with his golf club and trying to open that golf club up in Scotland somewhere.
Aye.
Right, it was near Aberdeen, wasn't it, at the time? And I said at the time, one of the best things Donald Trump could have done there to get the fully Aberdeen on side was to buy Aberdeen and just pump money into them. For a start, it would have got rid of all the hassle. Do you know what I mean? It would have got rid of all the hassle of his golf club planning permission, and it would have took Aberdeen up kind of thing. Obviously,
Aberdeen's got a lot of potential. Aberdeen, somebody getting the money.
That's what they're needing.
One club sitting on top of it, and they're a big club. They've done things in the past in Europe and all that.
Do you think,
a bit of finances,
like a team like Aberdeen, Mark, like and maybe Hearts, like need to kind of look at their scope and like, you know what I mean? Like, who's to say like that they couldn't have picked up a player like Matt O'Reilly, Mark, for 500,000 instead of buying these 32-year-olds, 28-year-olds.
But mind that the Americans took them out and put that Stephen Glass in as manager, and it was meant to be this kind of new model and stuff, and it just kind of went a bit manky, and it just went back to the old kind of trusted level.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get us wrong. I think Barry Robson's doing a great job for him. He's been given it to the end of the season now, but Barry Robson will be the type of guy. He'll not care who Aberdeen are playing. He'll want his players to be out there and do what he done.
exactly.
Blood and guts, leave everything on that park, and it's up to others. It's up to up to managers, up to whatever to fill their team with these players. That when it comes up against. The Rangers fans think there's teams like down to Celtic. Just before I continue with that, do you know what I mean?
There will be, isn't there?
I mean, who?
No, they'll think there's teams that lie down.
Aye, but who do you think
probably
you'll
think
say?
Hibs and Aberdeen and stuff. Right. The teams that hate them, they
A
probably
lot of the teams up in Scotland, you know, Mark. Sorry, and a lot of the teams up in Scotland now fair Celtic, Mark, and I think they're just going to sit back.
Dundee, Mikey's saying Dundee United, Hibs. So Mikey's saying they think that Dundee United and Hibs lie down to us. That was a good shout for you, John. You must be in on that. But I'm not. It's not as if
We always get a good game against Hibs, Mark.
That's the Irish connection in it. I think Dundee United after a while back they were called Hibernia or something to start with.
Dundee United were called Dundee Hibernian back when they first started. But I mean that's just nonsense. But it's like right. I keep getting back to Hearts. Did Nielsen no drop something like 7 players for one game? He played Rangers in the next game.
He did.
He dropped. I'm sure he dropped about 7 players. Totally changed the way the team played and all that when he came up against Rangers and then went back to his other. And it's not as if he's changing it to camp out in the box and try and.
Was that before the semi-final against us, Mark?
Was that what it was?
Yeah, it was before the semi-final. Remember, we played Hearts kind of twice within 5 days or something like that. We had Hearts, then we'd Hearts again midweek. Remember that?
Aye.
And he rested he rested the players. I think it was during the midweek game, and then put out a strong team then against Celtic. Like, I mean, like, if you're a Hearts supporter, you're looking going like, why not get 3 points? You know what I mean? Why not, like, Hearts are well capable, Mark, of beating this Rangers team.
They should be.
Exactly.
Aye, but I mean, they really should be. I mean, again, they're winning games and that, but they're not a good team at all. They're no Rangers are not a good team to look at and watch or nothing. And it's just I don't understand why a club like Aberdeen or Hearts didn't try and kind of even grasp the nettles. Even the first season when they came back up into the top league, that was the time for like an Aberdeen or a Hearts or that to step up then, because they were in that kind of lull between like the Championship and the Premier League. So that was the time that somebody could have actually stepped up and kept them down there in their maybe third places, fourth places. And again, it's just not happened. I would like to see... On you go, John.
Did Aberdeen no finish second twice to a bit when they came up, I think, in it, and then they just kind of started throwing money at it after they'd been in for a few seasons?
Aye, but that's it. Aberdeen kind of dropped the ball.
Aye, I know what you're saying.
It's as if every other team in Scotland
Except that Celtic need to be second, Mark, in this.
It's just every team in Scotland just seems to think, right, we're playing Celtic or we're playing Rangers. We're not going to win this, and one of them will finish first in the league, another one will finish second, and there's nothing else we can do about it. That just seems to be the kind of status quo in Scotland. There's no ambition. I'd like to think that Celtic board's ambitions have moved on a bit. If Peter Lill was on the club, but he was just happy enough to be the top dog in Scotland, and it's more like, well, we want to kind of make an impression in Europe, stuff like that. Right, that's true. But I hope our existence is. Rangers' existence is keep on our coattails. That's what all they've got. All they've got is to hang on to our coattails.
And we saw that, Mark, at the last derby at Ibrox. You know what I mean?
That old firm stuff,
and stuff like that.
But that's all they've got. Everything's got to. Everything they do has got to be compared to what Celtic do.
But Mark, isn't that though as well Sky Sports' fault as well? Keep calling, like, I know they're calling it because they get a bigger kind of view thing again, like, but it's not the old firm anymore. Do you know what I mean? And Sky Sports and Rangers are still kind of hanging on to that, aren't they?
Aye, but it's both of us own the trademark of that, Paul. Right, and that's one of the things that the Zombies come up with. Aye, but you renew the trademark every year or every 5 years, but you need to renew it or you're going to end up getting ripped off for millions of pounds.
Exactly.
The difference is we don't use it. We don't use the old firm tag. They do, because they need to keep a grab onto that. No matter what they do, it's always something to do with like a reaction to Celtic. If Celtic, we keep up with them. We need money off you, or Celtic's going to do this. We need money, Celtic's going to do that. So that's all that Rangers have got, is clawing onto Celtic's coattails. But below that, Paul, the rest of the Scottish football just seems to be, well, as long as we stay in the Premier League, we'll just not bother trying to better ourselves, trying to show any ambition at all. St Johnstone won 2 cups the other year. You know what I mean? What's his name? Callum Davison, the manager for them. I mean, they could have sacked him, Paul. Was it last season? They were right down at the bottom, and when it was getting to the end, and they stuck by him and he got them through it. But I mean, and this Beale guy's up here talking about last time I won the league, he wasn't even an assistant manager, Paul.
Taking
Gary
McAllister.
But Gary McAllister was assistant manager. He was only the coach. He was the kind of important guy. It was him that done all the tactics and stuff.
The only person in Scotland who didn't see McPherson headbutt Flann Alonso last week.
That was just shocking. That.
Like we had our physio glassed. We had glass thrown onto the pitch by Joe Hart, and then we'd a player, a manager, not a player, headbutted from behind, cowardly from behind, by their assistant manager. Like it's just bred straight through the club, Mark, of that club thuggery.
Was that the B team today?
Yeah, 2 players sent off.
3.
3 was it?
End up 3. End up 3.
Jesus
Paul, I'm
Christ,
sure it did.
Man.
End up with 8 men.
You know, they just can't take Celtic, Mark, getting the better of them. And it's played through the club, Mark. Yeah, and it's it has to come to a time, Mark, when the Scottish FA take a stance against this, because that game last week was a focal point for women's football in Scottish football, and Sky Sports showing it live on TV. There was no other game on. It was the only game that was on. And then you see that happen against the match. You know what I mean?
See,
That was an absolute
the
disgrace.
actual, or even the kind of the football kind of junkies that'll watch any game, Paul, be sitting watching that and seeing that.
You
I mean,
know,
just shows you what kind of a man he is himself. Then he comes out, oh, it's out of character and all that. He tried to attack Neil Lennon years ago.
he did, yeah. He did.
So it's no out of character for him. The guy's an absolute complete fucking idiot.
And a nuthead like, but there has to be. I know the lad that got jailed for 18 months and stuff like that, saying he's all of a sudden saying he regrets it, and I've lost interest for football, and I hope my son doesn't see it. Why did you do it so far if you don't want your
That's
son
exactly
to see it?
that. That's exactly that. See, I mean, I've said a lot of stuff at the football that's like alcohol related. You know what I mean? People shout things at the football when they've got a drink in them. They know they shouldn't shout. Do you know what I mean? And that's a kind of regret. But see, if you're that drunk, Paul, that you'll lift a bottle, or I mean, even going back, mind the Hugh Dallas get hot with a coin and stuff like that. If you're in that kind of mindset, you're needing a bit of a slap.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's one thing, as I said, it's one thing to jump up and shout something in the spur of the moment, or say the wrong thing in the spur of the moment. But see, to actually like have a bottle or a glass in that and actually throw it onto a football park at people and stuff like that, you're a special kind of idiot for me to do that.
Do you think, Mark, do we need to go back to a stage where alcohol shouldn't be sold in stadiums?
But it's no sold in. Well, in saying that, it's sold with it. See where that boy sitting in the corporate seats, they're allowed to drink in there.
Mm-hmm.
But people tried to bring it up a while back. Oh, we should be able to buy a pint in Celtic Park. We should be able to buy a pint when we're at the football and that. But, and I've said this, Paul, and I've probably got a cheat because I used to go to football, pissed out my face. I'll admit that. Do you know what I mean? But there's still, is it a Scottish thing, John? What do you think about drinking?
People get into the stadium. People get into the stadium pissed anyway, so it doesn't make a difference to buying it in there.
But you're still giving them more. Do you know what I mean? You're giving them more.
It's a thing you can maybe come up with something. See, like your season book, you could buy a drinks package on your top of your season book and see where you get. You scan your season book for a pint and you get something like 2 or 3 pints a game. See something like that. You can maybe come up with something like that.
At least though, like it's like something that you're saying there, John, like at least market can be controlled within the stadium how many drinks you can have.
You're bringing income in, you're charging more for a season book, you're getting that wee a drinks package through the season. You could maybe, I don't know, what, £100 extra onto your season book and you're getting like 2 pints, and if you just scan your season book at the wee till and you only get 2 pints a game, something like that.
I'm not asking for 3 vodkas and a double whiskey.
But that would be it. It's like, well, I don't drink, so I've got my season ticket, but me Jabber or Welsh's at the game, all right, I'll go and get you the 3 drinks, Jabber. Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying.
It's a weird. I mean, everything's better with alcohol. If you, I know that for you know what I mean, guys that like to enjoy a drink and have a party and that, but I don't. It's a weird one just trying to bring it into the Scottish football again. I think because it could just so easily go mental again. Do you know what I mean?
We're seeing that anyway, Mark, aren't we? I think like for me, like this isn't a young fella. Like this is a grown man.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And who's to say he was drunk on
he must have a decent living as well, Paul. If he's in corporate and he was going on about the embarrassment, and I've not even looked into the guy, but I think he probably, the way he sounds, he's actually like his own business and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's kick-ons and stuff like that when you become a pure arsehole and then you end up in the paper or doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like surely, Mark, the Rangers have as a club should be fined for this behaviour, like, because it's not just something like we the onus on with us saying it's a toxic place to be. He has stuff thrown at him. There's other fans saying it. There's Hibs fans saying it that Ibrox is a toxic place to go. Like no way fans feel safe there. Do you know what I mean? You know, you're put in between two. Like that corner, like I'm fair dues for Celtic for doing this. Like 700 away Celtic fans aren't safe in that corner where we're situated. You know what I
No.
mean? We're surrounded by two, and you're surrounded by Rangers fans on either side of you. You know, and
See what Joseph's saying there as well. Why, right, obviously, you can't sack somebody like that, just even though there's video footage of it, Joseph, you can't just sack somebody, you need to get through disciplinary procedures. But why's he not been arrested?
Did Duncan Ferguson will get a jail for that or something years back? He done something.
But Duncan Ferguson was already on no license, what is it you call it? He was already in bother and he was in probation at the time.
I know what you're saying. It's obviously that's when he done, he done one of their fans. I'd get the jail and probably. He just went unstuck at the manager.
It's even down to the fact as well. I mean, imagine somebody didn't recognise him as like a member of their coaching staff. Imagine sort of like a member of Celtic security or whatever thought, is that a fan that's ran on here and ran over and tackled him?
Aye.
I mean, I totally. Rangers should be investigating that, and they should have made a statement out of this. We'll be investigating that, and if any right, because you've got to cover your backside with legal jargon and that, and if he's found to do any wrongdoing, we'll deal with it accordingly, and he should get sacked for it. 100,000,000%.
They're not the type of club to do that, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
The club itself's not even made a statement, Paul.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't even apologised. They haven't even apologized, and then you'd be coming out Denmark saying he didn't see it. Do you know what I mean? He didn't see it, or it's out of character. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, like, how do you not see it? It's all over Sky Sports News. You're telling me you don't watch Sky Sports News?
Just lying. That's just a lie.
Yeah.
Every guys tried to go to the B team game, was turned away from the stadium because of my Celtic top on, no away fans, they said. So I waited to see it.
So they're putting that to the Rangers are putting that to the B team. So after Celtic's response to no away fans next week in Celtic Park.
It's just so petty, isn't it? Everything about them is just so petty and cringy. It really is.
Is done that there? Put no away fans for Ibrox the next game there.
Yeah, there's no away fans next week. And there's going to be
Rangers that kind of made the decision for that to happen.
No, Celtic tell them either go back to the 8,000 or we're getting nothing.
Oh, that's maybe thinking of Rangers in case you want to get Ibrox in it. Just maybe let no fans in.
But I was at Celtic the other week, said to them, look, we go back to the 8,000 or we're just going no fans, and Rangers can't do that, John, because they've sold season tickets for the seats.
Aye.
Whereas Celtic don't, they still sell them, and then you can buy a ticket for the Derby game or whatever, but Rangers have actually sold season tickets. So that's one of the things about it. We spoke about this the other week, wasn't it, Paul? I can't see how this kind of impasse is going to get sorted for that reason, because they'll need to turn around to their own fans and say, see the season tickets we sell you, need to take you the Derby game, well, they'll call it the All Firm games, we need to take you All Firm games off you, plus we need to move the wee onion bears out of their seats again. No, I mean, the only ultras in Europe that get moved, there were the only ultras in Europe that get moved to their seats because of away fans were coming in.
Did they know baseball bats not that in? They were into set tifos up
there.
Baseball bats, hammers and all that. Things like that. They still let them in the stadium.
I mean, there's 13 of them or something been arrested after that carry on at Hampden the other week. They've got a just crowdfunding, just me giving thing going for their legal costs. No, you're laughing, John. They have.
No, I've seen it. I've seen the video where they attacked the pub and the woman that walked behind the bar ran out and chased them all.
Just jumping like a bunch of fucking buddy rabbits going down the road. They were. Jesus Christ! And I saw them bouncing up and down and singing their songs. I was looking, going, "Who the fuck are these idiots dressed in black? Not even their colours. Not even because their own kids are shit. They have to wear their own black tops. Do you know what I mean?" You know, like I saw Celtic there bring out these class pair of runners last week. That's no impossible to get, right?
Did you
Right?
get a pair?
No, she couldn't get them.
Big
The
jabber got them.
course
I went
job.
on and
Yeah.
there's only like 9s and 10s left. Fucking hell,
Yeah.
Jabber was on all day sitting in the queue for them on the Celtic site, and then
It's grand
they
when
were-
you're
you
your own boss, Mark, isn't it?
no,
Huh?
but you could get them off the JD site for you weren't even needing to queue or something.
Yeah, I got something else instead by that. I'm pretty happy about it. It's not till next week because my birthday's not till next week, but I kind of sparse it in the bag. So kind of happy. That Jaws I was telling you about, Mark, from the 89 to 90s season.
Right,
The yellow one with the green kind of stripes coming down it, you know, the Sea Smith one.
aye.
So I kind of saw that in the box, so I'll be celebrating wearing that next week for the derby. You know,
Who bought you that?
yeah, Veronica.
Who
Yeah.
for?
Yeah, it's my birthday. 41 next week.
Oh,
You April as well, Paul, aye?
Huh?
You April, your birthday April 2 my birthday 2 weeks today as well. So
Yeah, 10th of April. 10th of
April.
April.
all the fools were born in April then.
Oh, the legends,
Yeah,
that's what they say,
exactly.
it's all legends born in April.
Aye, I'll be right.
You know, it was actually my favourite jersey. You know, I fucking just always, I'm always saying to you, Mark, that I was trying to get it and I couldn't get it.
Aye.
You know, or there was fellas selling it, or it was kind of didn't look the best kind of condition and stuff like that. But Veronica got a good one there. It was actually JD Sports.
Oh, do you get what you go to? Aye, because that boxer toy guy, didn't he, John? Do you know what I'm talking about? Boxer on Twitter and that. He does like retro topes and that, I know.
Yeah, I see them. Yeah, he's good ones as well.
Aye.
It's
I bought that.
amazing.
Did you get that top, the St. Patrick's top that came out?
No, did you get it?
Aye, I bought that.
That's a
That's
nice
the fun.
kit. That.
Aye, that bit, Paul, I've seen she calls it the collar on it. See, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to buy that. I can't get the see round neck tops in that, John. I don't like wearing them. I think my neck's too big. So I need to wear like a polo shirt or a collar.
Aye.
And so I've not bought a Celtic top for ages because
Well,
I
look
thought
at that though, Denmark.
just to
like,
sit about the house. As soon as I saw the collar, I was like, I'm on to that. You know?
4 jerseys, Mark, out. Like, do you know what I mean? 4 jerseys out. Like, you know, it's fucking
Aye,
a lot of pressure on parents, man, isn't
that
it?
third one's a riot right enough, innit?
Which one is that? The grey one?
Aye.
Jeez, I don't know. I don't think there's always kind of one jersey that doesn't kind of stick out with you, don't this? You know what I mean? And that was kind of one of them. You know?
They keep trying to put these kind of pink colours into tops.
Yeah,
Because the European Cup final in '67 was that colour.
yeah, and I think as well.
Sack that.
You know, can the makers of the jerseys, Mike, like Adidas, and I think can they do their own kind of design for? I think is it for the third jersey that they can do their kind of own design for that.
Well, I think they've got Celtic's got people, Paul, that kind of work on this stuff all the time. And then they'll get together and Adidas of other people design stuff and they'll get together and come up with the best examples.
Like, there's a few fellas there like that behind Twitter there, Mark, that kind of do stuff like that. Like, and
Aye, some of them are cracking looking, they really are.
They do have some nice jerseys on it, like, you know what I mean? As you said, they're cracking, like, and you look and go, Christ, I'd love that. And then the weed jersey comes out, then you're going, no, that's shit. You know what I mean?
The Picasso ones that were out yesterday, they were belters.
Which ones was that?
It was an April Fool's, obviously. Did you not see them? The strips at Celtic were.
Oh, I did.
Aye.
I did. There's been, just before we move on to the derby there, I think there's been a lot of people talking about Mickey Johnson making his chemo debut for Ireland this week and saying he did well. Like he did what Mickey Johnson does, Mark. He has a bit of skill. He's one with the ball. I've seen Mickey Johnson. Like, these people kind of haven't been seeing Mickey Johnson week in and week out that we have. Has he a future at Celtic, do you think? Or has he got his chance and that was maybe he was loaned out?
Oh,
because I know there was a buy clause in their deal, but they said, no, they've come out and they said that they can't afford it. So he will be coming back to Celtic.
Aye, he'll be coming back to Celtic. Aye. I mean, Celtic gave him a deal so that he'd had a chance to come back for a year, didn't he? So, I think we've spoke about it before, Paul.
Would you want him, like, my point is, right, if we say Bada goes, which will happen, would you be happy for Mickey Johnson to come in there and step in for Bada instead of Celtic going away and buying someone?
Well, who would you rather have, Mickey Johnson or James Forrest?
I'd rather
I'll go with James Forrest, man. For me,
Fuck off.
fucking Mickey Johnson's brutal, man.
James Forrest.
I would rather Forrest too, but and I would rather just spent money and upgraded a bit.
But how do you know that Johnson's no good? I mean, it's like Cal McGregor went away to Notts County and came back a player. And Johnson had the ability, but it was just.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
he was that wee, and he was. Do you know what I mean?
Mark, he was impressive for Ireland, I must say that. But then again, Mark, I think he played in an Irish team that's to his level. Do you get me?
Aye.
You know, League One players, League Two players, because all that's basically the level Irish players are. League One, League Two. Bar you might get the odd one or two players in the Irish team who are exceptional, but we don't fucking have that. So, of course, for me, Mickey Johnson's going to stand out if he's any bit of skill in this Irish team.
Whatever Bobby's saying, he would be fourth or fifth choice winger. Well, if he's happy to be that, but that's what I'm saying. You've got to think he kind of actual levels. Is Mickey Johnson going to come back and be a first choice pick for Celtic? No. That's what I'm saying. Has he got a place in the squad? I don't know. He might have grown into that. I've not seen much of him. Do you know what I mean? You've probably seen more, Paul, if you've watched him playing for Ireland, and I've seen from this year.
But I give him that, Mark. You know what I mean?
Oh no, wait. He was born in April, I know. So he must be a bit of a tip.
Well, Mark, Mickey Johnson did what you said, Mark.
The 19th.
He has skill in him, but every player kind of finds his level. And I don't. If Celtic want to, like, if Ange wants Celtic to go to this next level in Europe and have a good, I don't think Mickey Johnson's the answer. Do you get me? You know?
Oh, no, I get that. Aye, definitely. But it's like we've said as well, Paul. Would he do a job? Would he do a job at the SPL level if he's coming back to Celtic a better player?
Oh, Mark, as well. I've always said, and I've said in this podcast as well, I think what Mickey Johnson needs is to go away, play regular football, and not get injured. And he's done that this season.
Aye. So as I said, Paul, going back to Cal McGregor going to Notts County and stuff like that. How many times have we spoke about how it should be part of a young player's progression into the first team? Are we out on loan for 6 months or a year to toughen them up, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I'm not going... Did Mikey Johnson that left Celtic? No, he's not getting a future at Celtic. Mikey Johnson that's going to come back in the summer? I don't know, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? There, Kevin. Evening, Kevin Gallagher. Cheers for coming in, Kev. Need Johnson for the homegrown quota.
I don't think we would, because we'll have the likes of Rocco Vata down now, Mark.
Promote one of the other boys up.
Bosman Law will actually fall into the homegrown players as well, Mark, in that squad.
Right.
You know, I think what I heard was, do you know, if we signed a player outside of Scotland, within Europe, Mark, right? But if he's been 3 years at Celtic, Mark, before he was 21, he's classified as a homegrown player.
Aye.
I mean, so the likes of Baldwin Law, Rocco Veta, they'll all be classified as homegrown players. Do you know what I mean? Because they've been at Celtic for such a young... Like they said today, Rocco Veta's been at Celtic, Mark, since he was 7.
Aye.
Since he was 7. Do you know what I mean? And that was good by Ange today as well, Mark. The game was done. Give him the few minutes in the first team. Have him in the match day squad. Like, that's what we were kind of screaming for years, Mark, that we wanted managers to do. If the game is won, there's just 10 minutes left in the game, bring on the youngster, let him get the feel for the game, and that's what Ange did today. I want this. You know,
Aye.
He scored down the end.
And that's again, but that's just, again, Paul, that's just kind of, back in the day, Paul, that was kind of normal, natural. That's how we kind of learned about young players. Do you know what I mean? Because you heard a wee bit of buzz, you read a bit about them in the Celtic View and stuff like that. And then then they were coming on for 10 minutes at the end of the games and stuff. So you got to kind of know young players. That's how football used to work.
I think that's how we got it wrong, Mark, with Dembele, is because Celtic were throwing out these snippets on YouTube for years about Dembele.
Where's he now?
France somewhere, I think.
He's still in France, aye.
He too, yeah, but he's not getting his game over there. I think he's only started about 4 or 5 games over there, Mark, really. Don't think he has kind of kicked on the way he thought he would, like, for a player who we thought was
Farouz,
the next big thing, like, yeah.
Islam Farouz. Do you know what I mean?
Biarritz, you know. Going on to the derby, I think at home, Norway fans, Mark, I think we're going to be right up for this, Mark, knowing that we can increase this lead to 12 points. And for me, 12 points is done. I mean, they're saying it's 5 games, Celtic went 5 games. But for me, it's 1. If we win this next game, the league is done.
No, but it's done anyway.
It's done anyway, yeah.
Aye, but that's
mean, this will just put more, more swords into the fucking room that's already there. Do you get me? You know,
honest to God, cannot see us losing at the weekend against them.
Have they not learned their lesson already, Mark?
No.
They're blown out through the holes already. Lundstrom, who got criticised by his own fans for being too slow and passive, comes out there last week saying we'll see a different Rangers team again. Tavernier has come out saying it again. Do you know what I mean? Lads, keep your mouth shut like Celtic do and just get on with your jobs and stick to your own fucking team.
Aye, but Paul, this Celtic used to do this as well, but see when it was they were on their roll when Rangers were on their rolls, 9 in a row and stuff like that. Celtic players come out with all this garbage. Do you know what I mean? See, I don't know whether I'm that.
Yeah, but they think.
No, they don't think that, Paul.
No,
they're coming out with what they're told to say. That's what I'm saying.
Do they think, Mark, that their mind games are working at Celtic? Like, because I think we've so much of an experienced manager that the players themselves are not taking any notes of this crap. Like, I'm supposed to take no notes of it. Like, you know what I mean?
No, Celtic players will not be bothering their backside about what any of them are saying. Maybe there'll be a wee bit of, do you see what so and so said in the paper today and that. We'll see about that next week. But there's nobody, none of this nonsense is bothering anybody at Celtic. Because that's what it is. It's just sound bites and kidding on and right, we'll be better next season. Give your season ticket money. Mine season tickets are due. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's not as if, I mean, imagine Tavernier came out and done that. Oh, we've got to get pumped next weekend. Do you know what I mean? Even imagine when him come out even kind of realistically and says, it's a big ask to go to Celtic Park and get a win, especially the way they've been playing. Do you know what I mean? Imagine one of them players come out and said that.
Tavernier's only street because his younger brother's making more money than him.
Aye, he's get me a chance in England cap.
Tavernier, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like his brother got a rocket there at the weekend. There, man.
There, Brian saying it's sound bites for the true blue media. That's all it is. And Celtic don't need to come out and make headlines and mad, crazy statements. As you said, Paul, we were talking on the pitch, and when you're a successful team, Paul, that's what you do. As I was saying there, I can remember when Rangers were on top and Celtic players were out here, and I'm sitting there, I wish they hadn't come out and said that. But do you know what I mean? Because it is just something
kind of put pressure yourself, Mark, before the game starts, like, aren't you?
Aye, but that's what they're doing. If they're, you'll see the real Rangers next week, right? So it's a week away. Right, so if this is the real Rangers that's turning up next week and we beat them, what have they got to come out with then? No. Well, that wasn't the real Rangers, we were just kidding on. We'll be all right. Do you know, it's just sound bites and stuff for them to hang on to and, he's like, look at him, no surrender, we are the people, John Lundstrom, what a player. It's all garbage.
Like if it's the real Rangers, like it should be Celtic versus Shevko. Do you know what I mean? Do you know? If they're saying they're the real Rangers. Here's a bold question for you. I'm just going by what he did today. And I was so impressed by it. Would you start all next week?
I would. But it's not going to happen.
I know.
It's not going to happen, but
I would, Mark. I think, Mark, he could. Do you remember we had Giamarcus up against Denmark and they couldn't handle him because his physique up against them? You know, I think O's physique against them would tear. The thing is that he's fast. Denmark.
Kyogo start up front.
Mm-hmm.
We could pick, right, as we're saying, right now, everybody's fit. We could pick your team now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's Joe Hart, Taylor, Carter Vickers and Starfield.
Johnson.
AJ. Midfield will be McGregor, Hatati and Moy. And up front it'll be Yota, Kyogo and Maeda.
Yeah,
that's the team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Brian pure loved up with Kyogo, isn't he?
He is, but he
Kyogo
doesn't.
starts all day and will score.
Like, I'm not saying Kyogo would score, Mark, but just for
he'll miss more. I'll tell you this, then he'll miss more chances than he does score.
I think this will be. I think, Mark, that they'll be fit. They will come out trying to come out guns blazing next week. You know, and they'll play dirty. And I think this game
they could do that. They could come out.
And that's the reason I'm saying, Mark. That's the reason I'm saying I'd start is because of his physique. Another player who could be good for this game as well, Mark, and I've always been saying it, was Haksabanovic. You know, just because he has that bit of bite in him that could be suited for these games. You know, but you don't see it. Like Aaron seems to have his kind of
set in his way.
That's that 11 now, don't he? You know,
but you can understand, Paul. This kind of his team's won him trophies. They've got us this far. Do you know what I mean? So you can see his point, but
and it would be a bold thing as well by Ange, Mark, as well, to throw O in there. You know, it'll be a big move if Ange did that, but I don't see him doing it. You know, but Kyogo then in this game will bring the space. You know what I mean? Because we know they're not going to sit back like Ross County today, so the space will be there, I think, for Kyogo as well to get on the ball. You know?
Aye.
You know, there's two different. Like it's good in a way, John, that we have two different strikers that we can kind of change it up front as well, isn't it?
Aye, definitely. It's, as you say, change it up, mix things up. It's kind of get somebody on big and physical, obviously, to go up against your defenders if we're kind of needing that up front. To say if Kyogo's missing a lot of chances and he's getting bullied, then we can change it and bring a big man on. Kind of got enough their defenders up. But if it was to start, I wouldn't have any issues, but I'm probably just going a wee bit more towards Kyogo now, so I've not really seen enough of him. I can know when Kyogo's on his game, he's got the goals in him. Just make a lot of the games, he's just on fire. And also, all the chances he's missing, he'll just could take his chances this game and score a couple. But
did you see his goal again for South Korea that was disallowed? O's goal.
No, I never seen it, mate. No.
Did you see it, Mark? No.
No, Paul. No.
Oh my God! I want a rocket. Like it's just. I think, Mark. There's actually. I actually think O has potential to be better than Kyogo. I think there's so much potential in this lad. Like, you know what I mean?
It reminds me of Mark Viduka. I've seen that to you before, Paul.
Yeah.
He does. I don't know what it is. It reminds me of Viduka.
I mean, that long ball there today by Joe Hart, Mark, like any other striker, Mark, would have chested that or tried to head it. Do you know what I mean? But he had the confidence. He had the confidence, Mark, to touch that and turn with the ball. Like, do you know what I mean? And this is a player who we're saying that we haven't seen enough of. And that today, Mark, shows me like that there's potential there. Like I think he's different aptitudes than what Giamarcus did. Giamarcus was more cross the ball in the box, first touch, and he did get great goals for us. But there's a lot more to his game than what Giamarcus had.
Oh, aye, definitely. You can see him being that kind of guy, Paul, just like a cross coming into the box and just shouldering off a defender, chesting it down and hitting a kind of over the shoulder volley kind of shot into it. He's that kind of big.
What we said today, Mark, on the podcast there as well, John, like that. Kyogo thought about that shot today. That's one of the reasons he probably missed it, because he thought about the shot. But O's thing there was just basic. It was something that happened in an instant, Mark. He didn't think about it. He just did it. And that for me, Mark, is I'm not going to say a top striker, but there's talent there for him so young to do something like that and turn the defender like that. You know?
Even if they kind of the thought of doing that in your head, do you know what I mean? Even thinking it, I can just. He's obviously sensed that the defender's right at his back, and he's just thought, if I can just touch this away from him, I'm away from him.
And it is like it's.
John, if you need to go, mate, batter in.
Aye, but I need to shoot just now. It's thanks for having me going again, mate, lads.
Bird shift.
No, I'm going to shoot up to the gym for a wee quick hour. Before I go head to my bed now, I'm going to go and get a wee quick hour in.
Good man. Thanks for coming on, John.
Nice speaking to you. Get 5-0 on next week. It's coming in, I'm telling you.
What?
Get 5-0 on next week.
5-0. Right, you send me a tenner and I'll put that on then. I don't think I'll be going for that, boy.
Telling you,
love it, right? I'd love it. Are you going to it, John?
No, I'm not even going to get to see it. I'm going to do that West Highland Way. So
all right.
I'm not even going to get to see it, man. I'll need to just listen to it when I'm doing that, man. Maybe try and find somewhere up or something. I can maybe a wee pub or something, but I doubt it. So I'm just going to have to listen to it, I think, my phone.
I'll give you a text from here in Ireland, but I'll give you a text.
I don't know.
Keep you up to date on it.
I had all this shit, man. I thought fucking Sky put the hang me obviously the dates out, so fuck, man.
Is it for charity?
No, just
a wee stot about.
just me and my mate's doing it. My big mate, he's kind of on a wee health drive now, kind of lost a lot of weight now, and he was just kind of asking about doing it and stuff like that.
It's like John, his mates from. It's like trade spotting when they all gave up drinking junks that they're going up to the Highlands. This is what Scotland's all about, man. Yeah. It's fresh here.
It's Scottish.
Scottish. Celtic and Rangers want to tell you, man. It's shite being Scottish.
Aye, it's something like that. If we get to the final, man, I'm away on holiday and everything as well. We do the final too, man. So I don't think I'm going to get to see the final if we get to the final.
Jesus,
you need to up your game, John, man. You need to up your game with the Timness, bud.
I know if it was all booked up for all the dates in it, it's just one of the ones in it. Or if there's no dates, you don't want it to fall in. But
where are you off to on holiday?
I'm just going up north, just going up to Glasgow for the week.
Camping shit?
No, it's just up to a wee lodging free. I'm going to do a bit of hill walking and stuff like that, but it's just on a Saturday, obviously. It's the final, obviously. I'll be driving up, so I'll probably will get to see it. I'll just need to hammer it up. I'll just need to leave early and just try and get up there before 3 o'clock.
Just get a new car in the end, yeah. After that time, your fucking car was right off there when the one crashed into it.
Funny enough, she says that. I got my uncle ended up getting his one, but it's just the thing's just been a full money pit the last few months. Everything's gone wrong in it, so I end up going and seeing a bit of new motor there on Friday, and I got a new motor on Friday, so I pick it up on Tuesday. That's who I was talking to. It was a guy I was buying the motor after, the salesman, and he was saying about Kennedy. One of his mates knows Kennedy, and he was obviously saying about me. They're inquired because I was just sitting. Obviously, I've given my driving licence. Obviously, he's writing all my details down. He's read my full name out, and as soon as I read my full name, he just turned to me. He's like, "How you writing Big Angen?" As a Celtic fan, straight away my name, I just started laughing like obvious. So obviously a big Celtic fan in Celtic, so I was talking to him about just Celtic, man. So he couldn't give us a good deal and all that in the motor as well. So
the next boy that came in, he was like, "All right, mate, and that. What do you think about Mickey Beale and that? What do you think about the mole? Might buy a motor off me, you know? Oh, I know this boy at Rangers."
We didn't have to check the brakes by that car.
He cut you up your arse for daily spiel. You still the next boy Rangers are fucking Rangers are signing Harry Kane.
Michael B will probably say, to be honest, I haven't seen the car, but I heard it's in good condition.
It's definitely taking it. I seen it online and stuff like that, and then I phoned them and I just thought I had a wee drive it, and I was like, I'll take it. Just once it was all done, can I see my name and stuff, and they just kind of started talking about football, and it's how it was saying about John Kennedy. He's like, he knows a boy that knows him and that. So I'm saying, obviously, Maida had a lot of inquiries in January. You can look to believing in the summer, probably. But I can never know. It's where everyone's into it. Somebody knows somebody.
Yeah.
It would definitely be interesting. A lot of our players, I they really will.
I know. So I can see a lot of players leaving this summer. Just too many of them are stoning it.
No, I can't. I don't. Honestly, I can maybe. I don't think Atati will be here, and I don't think Abad will be here. But apart from that, Well, you're saying about Maeda, right? Maybe, but I don't
I
think
think Mark Maeda
I
is
don't
more
even
of-
think Celtic would stand in, would
I-
have this. You know what I mean? If like Abada, Kyogo, fucking Jota, Matt O'Reilly, I don't think Celtic would even allow that kind of lively players to go. Do you know what I mean? I really can't see that.
I think the players, I think O'Reilly maybe want to leave. Like you see, no way injury it. As soon as somebody kind of has that wee hint or wanting kind of to move, he'll just drop them and sell them.
I think O'Reilly's a bit. I think he's kind of appreciates where he's at.
I've got a wee feeling like that's went off the boil this season. He's went a wee bit elsewhere. I think he's tasted it and he's kind of just looking to bigger things now.
I think Mark as well.
Right, good night, Brian. Thanks very much for coming in again.
Mark.
Right,
Cheers, buddy.
sleep well.
Cheers, bud.
Kyogo dreams. Wish all your Kyogo dreams.
You know.
Yeah, I'm going to go, lads. I'll see you
Right,
later.
Right, catch you later, John. Thanks for coming on, bud.
boys.
Right, good night.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
I just think as well, Mark, with Maeda going by his past dealings in York, Mark, his family now seems to be settled in Scotland and stuff like that, and he kind of has the Japanese and the kind of Asian players around him. I don't think he could. I just don't think he'd uproot his family again, Mark, to settle somewhere. You know.
Who's that, Paul? Sorry.
Maeda.
Aye.
By his previous things, like, you know what I mean. I don't think he'd.
I think Paul. I think he's in the same kind of category as Kyogo. I think
Yeah.
as long as Ange's here and Kyogo's here and he's getting treated well, I don't see him kind of pushing to get away or stuff like that. I really don't. The only one I really can see the new. I mean, obviously Kobayashi and Awati. We don't know how good they're going to be, but the only one I can see that's at Celtic, you know, to actually build a career is Hatate.
Yeah, do you know what as well, Mark? It's if he's not fit enough next week, he'll be a big loss in this game next week.
I'd like Hatate. I want Hatate to be fit for next week.
You know, because
fire link out, see if anybody's coming on.
Like for fella Mark, who's only been a professional footballer for about 4 years. Do you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Well, Paul, we've spoke about that with the Japanese national team. These players, they come through that kind of college system that they use. So they don't actually break into the national team. They're in their kind of mid-20s.
Yeah, mid-20s, Mark. So I'm thinking, Mark, you maybe think, going by what I've been reading about Hayate, right? After every game, he turns up. I said this to you before. After every game, he goes into a room with Harry Kewell and Gavin Strachan, and he sits down with them and he looks at his data and he looks to where he can improve his game. Do you think maybe he himself might want to stay at Celtic for another season under Ange to make him that better player for next? Because we've seen it before, Mark. Players leaving Celtic too soon. You know?
Aye, it's a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah. You know?
I mean, I'd love him to stay.
But you never know, Mark. He could be one of those. I'm not saying he's going to be at Celtic team, Mark, because
but Paul,
he could stay for another season.
Aye,
you know?
I mean, just we know there's big teams interested in him. There's going to be bids for him, but maybe he's settled in as well.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Sitting there, and maybe he's like, well, I could get down there, but I've no right. He's got Japanese people about him. Do you know what I mean? He's mixing.
He has this. He has the.
Aye,
players around
he's
him,
in a
like,
comfort.
you know what I mean?
Aye, maybe a wee bit of a comfort, a nice wee kind of comfort zone.
You know,
He's got
but what you
Japanese
can
players
say,
about
Mark,
him. The
about
club's
this,
looking after him well.
about this, yeah, exactly, Mark. That's what I was just about to say. Like what
Evening,
you
John.
can say about this club, Mark,
Evening,
is
John. Thanks very much for coming in again, John. Nice to see you, bud.
everyone seems to be happy. Do you know what I mean? And players seem to be getting on with bar one or two, like, and I think it's going to burn his bridges now, Mark, with me. Like,
but that's it. The players that aren't happy, kind of right. Well, they just get moved on. There's no drama.
We can get 10 million for Abada, a player who's actually not getting into our starting lineup, take it in the shot.
Aye, definitely.
You know,
10 million for Abada, easy.
But my only fear is, Mark, is the contract. If McCoy has something to do with that, that's my only fear there. Like, and we could end up losing a good bit of money on Abada again. that we should have got more for Jovanovic than what we did. You know.
No, but we'll need to wait and see.
No,
I
definitely.
mean, maybe a bad, maybe even if McKay's made a quote unquote arse of the contract, what if the buyou's £10 million? I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Aye, you know that. Aye, do you know what I mean? That's so we'll just need to wait and see. But if he's not happy, and
Mark, if he change, like, there's only one reason, Mark, and one reason only: a player changes agent, he wants the next big move. Do you know what I mean?
aye,
You know.
I said that to you with Jovanovic, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you're just kind of negotiating a new contract, you'll just let whoever your agent is do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for if you're on a kind of sniff even about a move, you'll move your agent. Do you know what I mean? If you don't want a contract dealt with, any kind of agent would do that for you if you're open for it. But if you're looking for an agent that's going to get you the best deal, wherever it is, you'll move agent.
I'm just looking at the live chat there, and people are saying, like, totally agree, 3 points today, but a big improvement for next Saturday. Like, what is that improvement, Mark, that we need for next Saturday, do you think? That what we're looking at today?
I don't think we need to really. I don't think we really need to change anything, Paul, apart from maybe being a wee bit quicker moving forward and a wee bit more direct. But again, that's down to the actual game we're playing today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Rangers only got to come into next week playing the way Ross County were today.
I think, Mark, it depends on the team we're playing. You know, I think it was always. I knew today anyway. Was always going to be a slow game because the bar the kind of one or two attacks that Ross County had, it was all kind of backs to the wall stuff. Bar. Aye. It's not going to be like that next week. You know what I mean? So I think there'll be space there for us next week, Mark. There will be space.
I'm 1,000,000% confident, Paul. 1,000,000% confident we'll beat them. It's at Celtic Park. There's none of their fans in. Do you know what I mean? If you were going to Ibrox and the shoe was another fit, maybe they could get something. But the fact that it's a Celtic Park, that's it for me. They're no way they're coming to Celtic Park and beating us.
No, definitely.
No way in the world that's happening.
Like it's 15 games now, Mark. We're unbeaten. Yes, 15 games at home, I think, is it? It's away. 15 games unbeaten, and Celtic have scored 35 goals this season, Mark, in the last 15 minutes of games. Today, that was the 35th goal we scored. In the like, it is like, I know you can't. The performance was the best today, Mark, but there's still a never die attitude. In the Celtic team, you know, never die attitude.
Just keep going.
You know, if it's 3-0, Mark, they're trying to get the fourth goal. Do you know what I mean? And I just hope we pump them next week, Mark. You know,
Paul, can you just keep blathering for 2 minutes in here, bud?
Jesus Christ!
Just talk about
just read a few posts.
Toby, the Cork game. How's Cork getting on?
He's injured, man. He's out, Mark. I don't know if he'll play for a while. You know, pulled up his groin injury in training, and he's only played one game, and he's been out since, Toby. But fucking Cork City are dire at the moment. Jesus Christ. You know, Hill Sly will be wanting Yasser to play. Yasser gets a heavy tackle and goes missing. I agree that put on forms from the start. I would too, John, but it's a big call. It's a big call. Starting next week instead of Kyogo. Kyogo kind of creates that space that kind of brings other players into the team, but it is a big call. It's over 25 games unbeaten. It's 15 games in a row, Bobby, isn't it? We're unbeaten, and it's 25. We only lost one game this season. That was at St. Mirren when Ange was experimenting with his starting 11. When we play teams,
back now.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't know, Mark, will Toby play much for Celtic by Cork City because he's been out now for at least 4 weeks with a groin injury. You know, and the keeper we have at the moment leaking goals, Mark, like there's no tomorrow. But Jesus Christ, man, you know, Jesus Christ.
Are you back down to watch him?
Yeah, I do, yeah, but like we're still getting about 5,000, 6,000 fans down there, Mark. But it's a big ask. You know what I mean? It's like it's a really, really young Cork City team. Do you get me? They're all about 22, 23, and they're playing against experienced players, Mark. Do you know? It's, if they're not beating teams around them, Mark, you can have that fair for the season. You know, like Drogheda yesterday, like we were leading 1-0 and 75th minute. Then Drogheda get the equaliser, and that's another thing. We were playing Shamrock Rovers the week before. We were up 4-0, and the last 10 minutes of the game, Shamrock Rovers get 3 goals. Do you know what I mean? And it's 4-all. Do you know what I mean? They just can't keep a lead. You know what I mean? I think it's Colin Healy's fault, Mark. You know, he gets the goal and
pure coaching.
Yeah, and he doesn't know how to defend the lead. Like he'd be like 1-0 to go there at 75th minute there on Friday night. Right, we were up 1-0, Mark. Game's thing. And he takes off the right wing and he brings on the attack. You're looking, what the fuck you doing, man? Do you know what I mean? Why are you taking off? And then he goes 3 at the back. When he goes 3 at the back, they score. You know? You look and go, why did you do that, Healy? Like, why did you take off your right back to bring on an attacking winger and slot the right attack? There was no injury there, Mark. Do you get me? No injury.
Aye.
He brings on an attacking freaking winger and puts him in then right back. Nah, he ain't fucking having that. You know?
Mikey struggled, Mikey, no sleep. That's what happens, Mikey, when you dip your wick, son. This is the consequences. It'll be all worth it, Mikey, mate, honestly.
When teams come at us and try to attack, Kyogo loves to run when we throw our midfield players through. Yeah, that's it. That's what I think as well. The next week, I don't know, Mark, is like Ross County today, right? There's not much space for Kyogo to run and make that space for the players, but next week there will be more space for him because the likes of Tavernier and Brashek be pushing up. The wings will be empty. He'll be able to pull Goulson out. That's going to make that space. Get me?
That Barisic is shite, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting away from that. Barisic is shite. Tavernier, he's good going forward in that, but as a defender,
Tavernier just has a good cross in the Mark.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Celtic, they just don't seem to. They just don't seem to pinpoint their weaknesses, Paul.
True.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, how many times did we sit here when they were beating us under Gerrard and that? We were getting out-muscled in midfield. That was one of the biggest things about it. We were losing the midfield battle. But, I mean, their fullbacks are really, really poor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we're talking about like the kind of quality we've got in the wing. So if you're talking about Greg Taylor and, well, it'll be Jota starting, hopefully Jota's on his game. But imagine Greg Taylor and Jota on one side, and you've got AJ and Maeda on the other side. We should be terrified. We should be terrorising their fullback for 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we don't seem to really be doing because
there should be no reason, Mark, why their defend, like Tavernier and Brashak should be pushing up on our defence. Do you mean we should have them?
But even when they push up, Paul, we've got the class and the speed and the quality to hurt them. And
that's Mark. That's something, Mark. I don't see from Maeda on the wings. Is I saw today, right, when he put in that cross today, a few crosses, but we're not seeing Maeda's pace enough for me for someone on the wings. Do you know what I mean? Is that down to the way we play, Mark? That Hans doesn't want people on the ball too much. You know?
I don't know, Paul. I've said it to you before.
Yeah.
Maeda,
all seems to do it, Mark. And then Abad stopped doing it, didn't he?
Aye.
You know,
but all Maeda seems to do is be like perpetual motion. He'll run about for 90 odd minutes and no, do you know what I mean? He can run about for 90 minutes, chasing the ball down, chasing players down, but he never really does much else. Do you know what I mean? I've said that to you before, Paul. He just, for what he does running about, but he doesn't actually really seem to do much in the kind of actual footballing sense of it for me. But his pace and his pressing, obviously,
It's frightening, like, yeah.
Aye. It really is. I mean, we watched him, Paul. Mind you, when the videos and it was, he used to kind of play more like he came in off the right hand side.
Yeah.
Rather than like an out and out winger.
Yeah, and like for such experienced players, Mark, we have in the ball like Hayate, Moy and stuff like that who can pick out that pass. Like they should, like even Anstead as well, Mark, about Kyogo. They should know now Kyogo and Maeda's movement where they're going to run to put that ball there. Do you know what I mean? And we seem to kind of don't do it enough. Do you know? Like as you said today, like there was too much of Brendan Rodgers and Neil Lennon again today, passing side to side, passing the ball back like that. Ange can't be happy with that kind of stuff, like, you know.
No, I mean it's great. I mean, we're going about all the possession stats, the possession. But
then while you're doing
you've got to try and do better with the ball when you've got it. I mean, sorry, just saying, with 78, 92, whatever, fucking 80 odd possession. But if you're not doing anything with it, what's the point yet?
But like, do you think that was something to do so as well? Like just what Bobby was saying there, Mark. The Dingerwell pitch is very small. That there's not much space when kind of 11 people are kind of behind the ball to make these runs. That the pitch is so narrow. You know.
The pitches need to be the same size.
No, it's a narrow pitch. Yeah, I think it's a certain amount you can put your pitch, Mark. Yeah, it doesn't. It's a more narrow pitch, I think. Yeah. They were saying that actually in Sky Sports today as well that the pitches.
Was it? I thought pitches ought to be the same size.
No, it can be. I think it's in something to the lengthwise. It has to be the same, but I think widthwise it can be in with a certain amount of distance. Do you get me? You know, like Cork City's pitch, Mark, is very narrow compared to other. You know, Cork City's pitch is like an old stadium, Mark. It's right up against the stadium. Do you get me?
Aye.
Even when you're taking a throw in there. At Cork City's pitch, like they're practically the stadium when they're for control.
But that's no. But I'm talking. I'm not talking about the actual where the stadium is. I'm talking about the actual pitch size. I mean, it can't be that much a difference are allowed.
You know, I thought Ross County's pitch they actually, Mark, looked very well, didn't it? You know,
the actual texture and that. Aye.
You know, and Celtic Park as well at the moment, Mark, seems to be.
They've done a good job.
Well, yeah, they did in fairness, didn't they? You know, what did they do? Like they just dig up those patches, put down a new layer of grass.
The lights and all that out for days during that.
Yeah.
That kind of, but was it 2 weeks? We weren't they playing? So I mean, fair play to the ground staff for getting it back up because it was terrible looking at Celtic pitch.
It always is, though, Mark, in and around, like. I don't think this pitch is suited to the Scottish weather, Mark. Is it this new hybrid pitch or something like that? It
shouldn't make any difference. It
always gets damaged, Mark, in Jan, going into November, December, January. The pitch is always like that every season, isn't it? You know?
Aye. The Scottish weather doesn't help.
Before we go, we have to talk about it. It came up in the live chat there, Mark. I texted you when news broke. Brendan Rodgers and Leicester City are after parting ways. You know, any thoughts on that? You know,
I'm surprised they lasted that long.
I think what they were saying today, Mark, they didn't really want him to go because of what he did with the club. You know, getting him to European final. But Mark, as you said, money's more important down in England than it is their manager. You know,
aye.
I mean, it's been shocking for David Moyes recently. You know,
for Moyes as well. Aye, with West Ham.
Yeah, but he got a big win today actually against Southampton next, so that kind of takes the pressure. I can see Leicester go down, Mark.
There's a good chance of that.
You know,
when I saw the day, Paul, and said they gave him a chance in that, but losing, was it 5 of his last 6 games? And that's what I've always said, Paul, when we
Exactly.
talk about Ange getting down to England.
Yeah.
You're only 6 games away for the sack.
6 games away for the sack. But Mark, for me, like you're going on there, we were going on about financial fair play and stuff like that. Leicester spent well outside their means when Rodgers came in. Do you know what I mean? They spent and they had to sell all their players this season, big players from and they bought no one in because they couldn't mark for financial fair play.
Aye.
You know,
He was a bit stuck. Do you know what I mean?
but that happens to Rodgers, Mark. This happens to Rodgers. Do you know what I mean? It happened at Celtic, Mark. His second, kind of third season. We was like, you have to say, I know we won the league, Mark, but we were coming to rot under Brendan Rodgers in the third season. The football was getting boring. It was getting side to side, and there's games there I've been watching Leicester, Mark, and the players looked like they didn't have a clue what they were doing. Do you know, I think fucking.
I think there's been something a bit rotten in there for the last
while, there has. You know,
I think it was just a matter of time where a matter of time before.
Does this damage his reputation down in England, though, Mark? Leaving fucking Leicester in the relegation, and, you know.
No, I don't think so, Paul. He'll end up, for me, he'll end up at Spurs or Chelsea or something like that.
I think
Brendan Rodgers
anyway,
Potter's gone anyway, but that's Rodgers just going to pop onto that kind of England manager kind of merry-go-round that went on years ago with all these guys that no matter what job is going, always one of the kind of chosen few go to it. Do you know what I mean? Your Neil Warnocks, your Sam Allardyces. Rodgers is going to end up on that. He'll go and manage Chelsea.
Roy Hutchison, 75 years of age.
Aye.
Fall into Crystal Palace to keep him up. 75 years of age, Mark. Jesus Christ, man.
I mean, that's forward thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Forward thinking, you know. Jesus Christ, man. But I think Rodgers will go to Chelsea.
Aye, he'll go to Chelsea or Spurs, depending what kind of comes up first.
You know, because I think Potter, fair enough now, Mark, they bought these players and fucking Broley seems to be a chairman, Mark, where he just go out and buy a player kind of at any price, you know, but he reminds me of Celtic on the Peter All, Mark, buying players that doesn't suit your manager, you know, just buying player, whatever name seems to be the next star. Chelsea kind of are in for him, and
but that
doesn't suit Potter's style of play, you know.
That's like poor kind of planning, Paul.
Yeah, it's just a mess. That club is a mess. Chelsea's a toxic club at the moment. You know, that's what it is.
I don't care what anybody says. I think it was shocking the way the British government actually just kind of took the club off Abramovich. Do you know what I mean? Just because of who his pals were, kind of thing, and that's put Chelsea back years probably. Do you know what I mean? Because Abramovich
did for Chelsea, Mark, the country, and you know.
I don't think that was right, but
because there was a bad reputation, Mark, and on the Premier League, Mark, to have Abramovich there. That was it. You know, for the brand of English football.
But what's worse than Abramovich, because he's pals with Putin or whatever, and you've got all these Saudis and that. What is it? Sports washing.
Did you see there today Puma have to pull in all their shops and sponsorships of Israel sports teams and international teams and all that? They have to pull in their sponsorship of them because they called them a racist state of the occupation of Palestine.
Have they? Aye.
Yeah, Puma. They have said, basically what they said, Mark, is that we've pulled out of Russia, but what's the difference in what Israel is doing to Palestine and what Russia is doing to Ukraine? We can't support one nation and not support another nation, you know. And basically,
they're saying that they're saying that's an April Fool's, Paul.
Was it an April Fool's? Was it? I thought it was today it came out. Did it come out yesterday? Was it?
Aye.
You know,
Just when I googled it there and you said it, but the first thing that comes up says it's an April Fool's
It was an
gone
April
wrong.
Fool's. I would love fucking. I thought it was true, like, and I was thought fair play to him, like, but fuck's sake,
Aye.
it's an April Fool's. Why? I mean, what is the difference, Mark, between what the two nations are doing? Like, you know,
That's it. It's just again, Paul. Just
pick and choose what you
people.
want to do.
Aye. That's it. People say, "Oh, you keep politics out of sport," but you can't keep politics out of sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's a working class game, and it's all intertwined with your politics and everything like that. And you're not going to get into all Palestine, Israel stuff on here. Do you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why did Abramovich get Chelsea took off him while all these Saudis and that are allowed to come in and buy up like your Newcastles, your Man Cities and stuff like that, and nobody bothered their backside about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did I see something that they're investigating Newcastle owners now about something?
Aye.
But why weren't these checks done, Mark, when he was buying the club? Do you know?
Well, they did do checks. They've been on for a while, that with the Newcastle stuff, Paul.
Didn't do
buy
enough,
off
Mark, did they?
And
You know?
it was just, well, they can't let Man City do this and PSG do this and stuff and then stop Newcastle doing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hey, boys, our players do not use media in the right way. Watching media goes on a run, thinking the ball. Yeah, that's it, Mark. Passing the ball side to side instead. Like, is that like they should know, Mark, where media's going to one by now and moving to Kyogo. Do you mean we have some experienced players in the squad now to pick out these runs? Do you know? And I think that's how we'd open up teams, Mark, that sit back. If we're making these runs instead of passing the ball side to side like we were doing today, you know.
I see the thing with Maeda is, Paul, I don't think he's making these runs. Honestly, I don't know how to put it. I just don't see apart from just running about harassing opposition players, I really don't know what Maeda brings to the team.
But his distribution did get better anyway. He's actually getting some crosses in. Maybe when he first came in, Mark, he couldn't cross two legs.
But I mean, the thing about that again, Paul, you're crossing to Kyogo. How many crosses is he going to win? Maybe if he was crossing into goal, creating goal scoring opportunities, we'd notice that more, Paul.
Yeah, you know, is our style of play, so Mark, more suited to a striker like O instead of Kyogo?
Well, I definitely think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it's. I mean, I'm not getting on about Kyogo again, man. He scores goals, fair dues, but he's not an out-and-out striker. We're not going to progress in the Champions League, Paul, playing Kyogo up front.
I'd like to see Kyogo play off Mark.
Aye, I've said that as well. But I'd like to see us play two up front, Kyogo and O. Imagine starting that at Ibrox next week. A pure actual curve at Ibrox at Celtic Park next week. That's a pure actual curveball.
And that's something, Mark, they won't expect either.
No.
You know, it'll be a bold call, though, Mark, to start on next week. I'd like to see it. And
it's not going to happen.
It's a bold call. If everyone's fit, it's that lineup.
Aye, that's it. You can predict it.
You know?
For me, if everybody's fit at Celtic, there's only one place up for grabs in the midfield. If everybody's fit, for me, there's still only one single place up in the midfield. It's McGregor, Hatate, and Moy, Turnbull, O'Reilly.
Do you think, Mark, do you think Tumble times up today and Sean Owat in there and push McGregor up like we've seen before? Tumble kind of slapping in there who's ever injured, but the last few times Tumble kind of got a start that he was kind of non-existent in the game. Do you think?
I don't think
you want about that's what I'm saying. Like you think you want about players that are going next season? Is Tumble in that category?
I'd think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's. I mean, he's one of the players that he frustrates me, Paul. I know you don't like him in that, but he seems to have all the ability in the world, but he just doesn't.
When he wants to play.
He doesn't produce often enough. He really doesn't.
Yeah, you know, like.
I mean, I'm not doubt the talent he had. We saw that when he was younger, and I was delighted when we did actually sign him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a hangover, his injury problems. I really don't know, but He's definitely not be
He never
the
kicked
player.
on, Mark, since
Nah.
Ange came in. Like, it was that actually during that injury. Like, right, you think of it like when Ange first came in, we didn't have the players. Turnbull was one of the first player on that list. I know you're seeing O'Reilly, a 35-year-old, a 36-year-old, Moy, and Hayase are all above. I know, Mark, you could say Owasa is actually probably up to peak and I don't know more than Turnbull, I think. You know,
It's different positions, but isn't it?
but, no, but that's
I
what I'm
wouldn't
saying. Like
compare them.
Owasa, they're also different positions. Like, but instead of McGregor staying where he is, Mark, and bringing in Turnbull, McGregor's pushing up, Owasa's going into McGregor's position. Do you get me?
Aye,
You know?
aye.
You know, like
I think Turnbull will be away in this. I mean, we were talking about players getting away.
there's no talk of a new contract. Like he's
Aye, that's what
last
I'm-
18
aye.
months of his contract, isn't he?
Aye. So I think he'll be away in the summer, but it's not. Again, it's not really any great loss, really, isn't it? No.
Like, do you know what is a strange one too, Mark? And I know, like he's not going to be a starter, but Seagrass injury, Mark, seems to be dragging on a lot, doesn't it?
I know it started today, Paul, as well. It was aye, because it was only meant to be for a couple of weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he spat the dummy out as well.
Could have, Mark. Could have.
That's something else. We need to get shorty. We need to get shorty the two of them in the summer.
Keepers.
Aye, we need to get shorty Bain and Seagrass. And I've said it before, Paul. It's one of the only positions that we could actually see. Right, we need to strengthen. Is a goalkeeper position, and is it going to be a replacement for Joe Hart, or is it going
I think
to be
we'll
another
have. I think we'll have. I think Ange be quite comfortable, Mark. Seagrass has been back at training in recent videos. Yeah, but why is he in the start?
Aye.
That's my thing. Like, why is he in the squad, Bobby? You know, why is Bain still in there? Like, is he still not fit, or you know, need to keep Scottish players for Europe? Yeah, well, we kind of spoke about that, Mark, with the likes of Bosman Law now falling into that, and
Rocco Vata,
falling into that.
Ben Summers, aye. So I mean, that's
Horace,
the thing about it. You're just You don't need to be first team players to pad out your kind of Scottish.
Is it 7 players, Mark? I think you need to have, isn't this?
Aye.
7 players you need to have homegrown, and like I said a while ago, if they were 3 years at Celtic before they were 21, it's classified as homegrown. Ralston, yeah.
Greg Taylor, McGregor.
Welch. Will he be? I think Welch be gone as well, Mark. I think.
I think he'll go as well. Aye.
You know,
but
I don't think
I don't think
Mark anymore that Ange is interested in Mark. I don't think Celtic are. I think Celtic rather, for me, looking at the way Ange is at the moment, Mark, he'd rather promote within our ranks than signing a Scottish player in the Scottish League. You know, I don't think there's any player there, bar maybe the lad from Hearts, Mark, that is the Australian fella that maybe.
Aye, Devlin,
yeah.
I like him, Paul.
Bit of a dig in him as well, Mark, don't they? You know, there's no. I don't think there's no player really, Mark, in the that lad from Lost County, Mark, you were talking about there had a bit of skill in him, didn't he? You know,
Traore or something like Traore, wasn't it? Aye.
Yeah. You know, but then, Mark, like, it's the exact
but they're
same.
not Scottish. You know what I mean? That wee Devlin's Australian and Traore's no Scottish
No,
either,
that's
so
what I'm saying, yeah.
I don't know if they're not going to be.
But then, Mark, like,
that.
it's going back to, do you know, when a keeper has a good game against Celtic, Mark, and he saves about 10 shots, he's a good keeper, Celtic should look at him. Do you know what I mean? You know, just because he had one good game against Celtic, we should go out and sign him. You know, it is though. It's a position, Mark, we have to be looking at. Right, is the keeper.
That's probably the weakest position in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sitting the way we are the now, Paul, with nobody leaving in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Hatati staying the most staying. If the squad we've got the now gets into next season, the only position really you could put up, because even down to striker, I'm sitting talking about Kyogo with strike rate and that, but give O the chance then. But the only actual position that you could outright say we need to improve on is the goalkeeper. Which is weird to say when you see the kind of record we've got, but it's just Joe Hart just doesn't seem to. But every time the ball gets back to him, played to his feet, man, your heart's in your mouth into it because you don't know what's going to happen with it.
Yeah. Mark, like, Jesus, like, it's position, Mark, we need to get right. Do you know what I mean? Because we've seen it with Barkas, it just didn't work out.
Aye.
You know, it's we need to do a proper scouting, Mark, this time, I think, on a keeper. You know, really do, like. You know, I think they'll stick with Hart for another year. Sure, there's talks of McGregor signing no contract with the other crowd next season. Like, Jesus.
I know.
You know,
he's got a testimonial as well.
Jesus Christ, my testimonial against Newcastle, I heard, isn't it? That's
the
Castro League there, by Mike Ashley there. Anyway,
exactly. All the teams you could invite up is Mike Ashley, Mr. Castori.
That money's not going to you now at all, Alan. There, that's the fucking payoff. The fucking the kid sponsored shit there. That Mike Ashley there, isn't it? You know, Christ, there's uproar, Mark, by that they sponsored Ireland. People are boycotting the jerseys and everything. Castro, you know, it's just a horrible. It's like our home jersey is like the Rangers away jersey. Do you know, it's shocking. Like Ireland never had stripes coming down our jersey. Do you remember? It reminds me of the old Northern Ireland jersey years ago when Northern Ireland had the stripes coming down it. You know, it doesn't even look like a Northern Ireland Republic of Ireland jersey. It's horrible. I certainly won't be. I never bought an Ireland jersey. I know Max would be all the one, so I just won't be.
I used to buy them.
You know, I used to have the grey Pacquiao goalkeeper jersey. Remember that for the Italian 90, the grey one? I used to have that. You know, I used to have that, but I think that was the only Ireland jersey I ever had. You know, if I was going to buy a jersey, Mark, it'll be a Celtic one, and that's about it. I won't be going out buying one of those fucking supporters of football to have a jersey about 10 different clubs, like, you know. You know, and then putting up on Twitter, what you think? Thought you were a Celtic fan. Do you know what I mean? Thought you were a Celtic fan. Like, why are you buying a Real Madrid jersey for? You know?
I know. I've got a wee pal, man. I've known him all my life, right? We used to go to Aki's games years ago, just doing the chaos because their Hamilton of the years is unbelievable, right? And see on Facebook, every weekend he's on something. He's away to an Aki's game, and then next thing he's away down to a Sheffield United game. He's away down to a Man City game. And I said to him the other week, I hear you've got more clubs in Tiger Woods. When's the last time you were at Celtic Park?
Jeez,
you know what I mean? No matter, honest to God, man. See, for right, the Motherwell Casuals, right, years ago, right, this was in the Daily Record. The Motherwell Casuals were releasing a book, right? There was a big daft fucking hangout at the Motherwell supporters show and all that, blah, blah, blah. And my wee mate, he got caught in the 40, right? And then he kicked up all this kind of bother with the Daily Record, and he tried to come out with it. He was just there to visit the Motherwell shop to buy his wee disabled cousin some kind of Motherwell kit for his Christmas.
Jeez.
And he just kind of get caught in the picture with all these Motherwell SS crew. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolute bonkers, man. And that's what it is, but Paul, it's like, see, modern football, it's like after many times Paul damn on about all this people standing at the game, like taking pictures, video and stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, we've spoken about it, Paul. Was it Liverpool, Man United?
Yeah,
Salah scored against Man United or something.
And they're all taking all the pictures for Salah score, celebrating.
Aye. Well, there'll be Steph in. All right, Steph, bud, how you doing, mate?
You know, the interesting point there, Mark, by Joseph there, just before we go there, hey, boys, need to keep up the players rotating, freshen up the team. We can't afford to what happened to Neil Lennon, players staying too long and getting complacent. That's a good shout there, Mark. And I think that's why Ange Mark kind of said, don't get used to these players. You know, that there will be changes and there will be plans for Eric's. You know, I think Mark Ange is ruthless. If Ange thinks there's a better player out there than what he has, he'd sell a fan favourite to bring in that player. You know.
Aye, as you said, Paul, if a player doesn't want to be here, we've said that even before Ange came in, Paul. We always said that if a player doesn't want to be here, get them moved on. Then that's the way it should be. No matter whether you think you're better than Celtic or you can get more money here, you can get more money there. As soon as you say I want out of here, you should have kicked another ball for Celtic.
Well, Mark, I think that was one of the best comments, and I said by Ange, you know what I mean? I sell Celtic to no one. If they don't know that Celtic is a big club, you know what I mean? I'm not interested in them. You know, if they don't tell they want to come here, you know. Like you have Alistair Johnson there, Mark, and all these Japanese players that came in, they jumped at the chance to come to Celtic.
Aye.
They all Celtic, like, I mean, that's the pull that Celtic Football Club has all over the world. Do you know what I mean? You know, bringing out.
It's only our reputation is only getting better, Paul. While we've been well run with Michael Nicholson and Ange.
Like, do you remember there's something you said there before on the podcast? Like, do you think under Nicholson did we put away from this just be the biggest club in Scottish football, just staying ahead of Rangers, Mark, and stuff like that? Like, I think we have, Mark, because I could never see Peter Lorre do what Celtic did last week and tell Rangers, well, there's no fans coming to Celtic Park next week. I couldn't see Peter Lorre doing something like that, you know.
Just not even that, Paul. Even look at we were talking about the train. I mean, I know this maybe sounds a bit mental, but we're talking about the trainers that came out right during the week. We're talking about the St Patrick's Day talk that came out. This money Celtic have made off that is astronomical. Even that Rangers see the money Celtic made out of that St Patrick's top and the trainers that came out. That's probably more than Rangers have got after story all season. And that's levels, Paul. That's what I keep saying. This is the kind of level Celtic needs to forget about. We don't need to look after the rest of Scottish football.
We don't. No. And then you see Rangers then being the pair of rubber dollies, white with red, blue, and a crown on top of them.
Aye.
Did you see them? You see the Rangers runners?
Aye.
I won't be caught dead in a fucking pair then. Even if they want Rangers, man, can just walk past the pair of runners like that in the shop. You know what I mean?
For me, that's what it is, Paul. It's levels.
Yeah.
And I've always said, Paul, I don't want Celtic to get involved in all the pettiness like Rangers do with the statements they've come out with over the years and their stupid stuff and that. And a lot of fans do say, well, why do Celtic not come out and do this? Why do they not come out and do that? Because we try to kind of operate at a higher level with a wee bit of class and a wee bit of dignity. And I know that's what they keep going about, the club, the standards of Rangers. The standard of Rangers is in the gutter. It's lower in the gutter, it's in the sewer. Do you know, there's no getting away from that.
I think Steph Boy's on the Bears, and Mark, he wants to come on and do a sing-along.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, Steph Boy.
My wee furry friend.
What is it, Chewbacca, is this?
Like wee wicket. It looks like wee wicket. The wee wicket, the wee Ewoks.
Ewoks, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. But when you put that, I still look at that picture. Like Jab and Steph Boy. Two Ewoks sitting down hugging each other. I thought, like, that was the best thing ever. That by the Ewoks, like that. I still laugh at it, like. I actually have it saved in my phone, everything as a picture, my Jesus Christ, man, it's brilliant, man. You know, Jesus Christ, we call it, so are you coming on, Steph, before we go?
Come on, give us a song, Steph.
What's he going? I hope I'm not going to be singing out the fucking Fields of Athenry, like, or, you know. No, I doubt it, Mark, he's after shitting himself.
Just come on, give us the Titanic song, Steph. We better Queen, Paul will start bobbing to that.
Jesus Christ, I don't be singing Queen anyway, get me going by. If you hear my if they hear my voice by we lose subscribers, that's what we would. You know,
Stage fright.
stage fright. Yeah, talk the talk, by, but you can't walk the walk.
Aye.
Huh? Like Rangers, by, that's what you are. Talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. Thanks for John, United Ireland, for joining us tonight. It's good to have him on, Mark. Actually, one day he hasn't been on for a while, for us,
Aye.
John.
He was on all the time when we first started them too, so it's good to get him back on.
I can just pitch them up in the fucking Highlands down next week, by with their big, huge beards, fucking pure like Highlanders, by just with like train spotting. Thanks for joining us in the live chat, lads. We'll be back again next week. Mark will close the show.
Right, thanks very much, Paul. John, thanks very much for coming on. Everybody that joined the live chat, hope you enjoyed it. Everybody that listens back, hope you enjoy it. Hit the like button. And if you've not subscribed, please subscribe to us. And if you know how to leave a comment, because it helps us boost up the YouTube algorithm, we can become millionaires. Right, so thanks very much again, lads. I hope you enjoyed it. Hail, hail, good night, and God bless. See you after next week's win.